and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration. Call United Mechanical at 502-339-1133.
All right. Welcome in, everybody. It is Wednesday, October 22nd. This is the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, Louisville's newest construction management company. Coming to you live from the world-famous University of Louisville College of Business Studios, here in the heart of fall, feeling fantastic. Louisville, Kentucky. Cards fans, you can take accounting to a whole new level with U of L's Masters in Accounting and Analytics. In-depth data analytics courses allow you to achieve a new mastery of accounting in this AACSB accredited program. 11-month competitive internship opportunities and full access to the Becker CPA exam review prepare you to graduate career ready in only 12 months. Visit business.louisville.edu today to learn more. We're on the air today from 2:32 until 5:30 here on 1450 AM, 96.1 FM. Streaming online, streaming live on YouTube, airing live on WBNA Channel 21. You know us better as the Big X. It's Mike Rutherford. It's Roman Kelly here with you on a Wednesday edition of the show. Couple of big things to get to today. One, we have a new despicable, despised, hated rival. It's a familiar name, but now there's more bad blood between us and him, and we must talk about him. And we must take him down, and we must disparage him. Hate to do it. Actually, I don't hate to do it. I'm very excited about this, actually.
There's two, is there not?
There's a follow-up. I mean, one is at the front of the pack. Two now has gone from we got no real beef with you to we're joining the list of we hate you like everybody else.
Yeah.
We're going to get there. Two, second big topic today. It's official, Roman. We're turning the page. It's done.
New page.
New page is here. We have flipped from OMG. We beat Miami. Everything's back on the table. The football season's alive. Everybody's focused on football, to let's avoid the Brom clunker. This is the midway point. This is the midway point of the week. This is when we start bringing it up, and they've been focused on Boston College since Sunday. We start focusing on Boston College today. We start bringing things up. I swore after the Stanford game last year that I would do what I'm about to do this week and not take the opponent lightly and not, give you a million reasons why the Brom clunker isn't a real thing and say it's overblown. I'm taking it seriously this year, and that process begins today. So we're going to do both those things today. Before we do any of it, we say hi to our guy. You heard him on Running with Roman. You'll hear him again for the next 3 hours, and then also on the Ticket Punchers from 5:30 to 6. Roman Kelly in the house. First day in the swing of the NBA season. Didn't go great last night.
No.
Didn't go great last night.
Look good.
But how we feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Okay.
I'm doing well. I'm ready to get into it this week. We've got a big week ahead of us. Big end of the week here ahead of us, Mike. I've got something that's been happening, though, that I was planning to ask you off air. I'll just ask you on air.
Perfect.
When I host the show, when it's me hosting anything, all of a sudden I turn into the fastest talker in the world. I can't talk clearly. I start stuttering.
Oh, this is classic radio.
What is that about?
It's classic radio.
As soon as I'm co-hosting, at least in my own head, and I know I get into some points on here where I start to talk too fast, but more times than not, it's still reacting and getting clear thoughts out. I feel like when I'm hosting now, I'm just like, it's 1,000 words in my head I'm trying to get out at once, and it feels like I'm on a timer, and if I don't get it off, failure of a job, and it's leading to me talking too fast and stuttering too much. I need to fix that, Mike.
This is a classic thing I think that happens to anybody when they're in the early stages, and you're still in the early stages of doing radio consistently. It used to happen to me, I mean, it still does from time to time. I get worked up and I start talking too fast, and you got to kind of remind yourself to slow down. But when I would first start doing guest appearances on local radio shows, I caught myself doing it, and then I felt like I got better at it, and then I started doing actual co-hosting stuff where I'm on for an hour at a time. And the first time, though, because I've been doing radio on and off for a couple of years, and I was like, all right, I'm getting better at this. But the first time where I was given the duty of hosting a 3-hour show where I wasn't alone, but I was chair one. Like, yeah. I'm running the conversation. I think Brett Dawson was in with me at the old ESPN 680. And I was like, all right, I think that went pretty well. And I went back and I listened to it afterward, and I was like, "Oh my god, you can't understand what I'm saying. I'm going so fast. Like, slow down. You sound like an absolute idiot." It does just it happen. I mean, I listened to you guys yesterday for traffic was terrible. There was something that happened on the Watterson, so I listened for pretty much the entirety of the show. I thought you did a good job. Good job keeping the conversation going, running point. I never got the feeling that you were talking overly fast.
Ticket punchers is a little bit easier just because I know that I'm asking them questions that are going to warrant a 2 or 3 minute response sometimes, and it's a bunch of different small topics that don't require a bunch of replies and branches off. I feel like just the run-in with Roman, sometimes on Real Spiel, I occasionally just start going crazy, and I got to be able to get my thoughts to slow down. It's not actually the words. I feel like I don't struggle getting the words out. It's like getting the thoughts in a structure that I like, that I'm willing to say, and trying to figure that out in live time while I'm also getting my points together with the details. It's like, yeah, and then so what do you think of this? And, well, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
My friends listen, they're like, yeah, you're rambling for sure, but I can understand you. And then Holly's like, I don't know what they're talking about. I think she just gets to hear me talk like this regularly, so she's probably a little bit biased. But I'm working on it. I'm addressing it. I'm self-aware, and I'm going to fix it.
I think you're fine. It's a process. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time now.
I also get 22 minutes on run-in, so.
You got a lot to fit into a small window of time, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it happens to everybody, especially when you get kind of worked up and you feel like you're not exactly sure where to go next. That's a typical issue. Honestly, it's probably better than if you talked way too slow and kind of weren't making any sense, because then people are like, oh my God, just get to the point and move on to the next thing. So it's the lesser of two evils.
You're right.
How's everything going outside of that? How'd you enjoy? I know your Lakers fandom wasn't a great night, but still overall pretty solid first two games to kick off the season if you're just looking at NBA objectively.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Luka looked great. If we can just get him a little bit of help, I feel like if he can continue to play like this, we'll have a good chance at being in most games. But I could talk the entire show about what I disliked last night. I'm not going to overreact. I'm going to just tell myself, if you shoot better than 25% from three and better than 60% from the free throw line, you're going to have a better opportunity of keeping it close there at the end of the game. It's hard having issues with JJ. I'm starting to have issues with JJ, and I didn't want these, Mike. And it's not offensive issues, and that's what I feared. It's the defensive issues. He isn't really a good in-game adjuster yet, and that's kind of tough to watch. You know you're going up against the best third-quarter basketball team of all time, the best coached third-quarter team ever, and no substitutions for 4, 5, 6 minutes straight. The double big isn't working. Little things like that he's going to have to work on, but Luka looked great. You get LeBron back, the offense should look better, and you just got to make more shots. It's what it comes down to, Mike. You got to make shots. You can't miss free throws and open threes. And DeAndre Ayton can't just give up open threes and think that jumping up with his hands 6 feet away is going to do something.
There it is. Wednesday, October 22nd, one day into the NBA
All right.
Our first genuine got to make shots. Take of the year.
Got to make shots.
You're not wrong.
First game was great, though.
People keep telling us we're controversial here. We stick by what got us here, which is the notion that you've got to make shots to win basketball games.
Got to make shots.
Has to happen.
First game was great. Shout out to the champs doing their thing. I didn't hit my big bet. I had them -6.5 last night, and I'm like, ooh, overtime. Here we go. Might hit. Ooh, another overtime. Here we go. Might hit. And ultimately it doesn't. But I thought that game was great. I mean, that's two teams that are – Adam Silver got it put on a platter last night, kind of. The NBC coverage was great. Those two games, I mean, Luka going crazy and then the Warriors looking good was great. Those first two teams and the star power there on display. So good season opening night in the sake of just NBA fans.
I watched no seconds of it.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Any highlights today?
No. I saw people reacting on Twitter about the game going into double OT. But I was locked in, Roman, to Louisiana Tech, Western Kentucky. Fantastic. My streak of CUSA Tuesday night betting victories came to I was going to say merciful, but that's not the right word. Came to a brutal end last night. So I should have just bet. I knew Kennesaw State was going to cover. Knew it. Told you. Told everybody. I picked La Tech, but I didn't feel as confident about it. So I took Kennesaw money line, parlayed it with La Tech money line. And early on not looking good. Western's looking, and I was like, come on, man. Like, why am I doing this? I know Western's playing their backup quarterback, but I still should have known. You got to roll with the tops. And then La Tech ties the game. They have a chance to win on a game-winning field goal at the end of regulation. It gets blocked. We go to OT. And Louisiana Tech scores first. So they're up 7. All they got to do is get a stop. They got Western 4th and 10. The kid, I can't remember his name, Dennis something, the backup quarterback, who played really well, Tisdale, makes an incredible throw to pick up the first down. Western scores, and they go for 2. And so I'm like, all right, at least I didn't take La Tech to cover the spread. Just get a stop here. We're in the money. We're feeling good. Tisdale makes an unbelievable throw. Like the play breaks down. They do the classic roll everybody out to the right. He looks like he's got nowhere to go. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to win this bet. I'm going to feel bad for Western fans, though. He makes an unreal throw across his body, middle of the end zone. Kid catches it. Tops walk it off, 28-27. The streak is over. But I do feel good for Western Kentucky fans. That was a big win. It was a very entertaining Tuesday night game. It was great. And then after that was over, Mary and I, we like the show The Diplomat, and it just came back on Netflix, so we started that last night. And so it didn't have time didn't even fall asleep to basketball. Just watched Diplomat, went upstairs, flipped on the U of L Miami game again to fall asleep to, and that's what I did.
Yeah, I was on Lakers Twitter Spaces till about 2:30.
Were you really?
Yeah.
I'm sure they were handling it well.
Yeah, they were. I gained a good amount of followers at it. I guess they liked my takes.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, how angry were you? I mean, just judging from your tweets, I could tell you were not handling it perfectly.
I was trying to keep it PG because I can't overreact to game 1.
The long season.
Yeah.
What I did watch at the end of the night, I take it back. I flipped on the U of L game super late, but I watched the Avalanche lose in overtime. They were playing on ESPN last night to Utah, and that was super frustrating. We got a bad whistle last night. Landeskog back, scored his first goal back in a regular season game. And they wiped it off with a bogus offsides call, and then gave Utah a bogus power play, and they scored. It was a bad game. We lost in overtime. Whatever. Who cares? Suck it. We're still in good shape. We're feeling good. I'm feeling good about all my professional sports teams right now, except for the Reds, who I never feel good about. Lions are in good shape. Lanch are in good shape. Reds made the playoffs, but I still somehow feel wildly pessimistic about the future. It's okay. Times are better than usual, and times are very good here at the University of Louisville as we get ready for a big I mean, they're all big football games at this point. Like I said on Monday, every week feels like a playoff elimination game. You got to treat it that way. It's basically you're in the playoff now. That's the way that you view it. You got to win every game from here on out. You lose, you're probably out, and you got to refocus your attention on something else. So, very excited for this weekend. What do we think what do you think the crowd's going to be like? It's clearly going to be better than it would have been if we'd lost to Miami. 7:30 kickoff. It's homecoming. The weather should be very nice, classic fall weather. It's
that time of year, Mike.
A little crispy out there, but not overly cold. There's no real excuse for us not to have. I know it's the weakest opponent we got left on the schedule. There's still no excuse for us not to have the best crowd of the season.
Everybody's getting in that Halloween celebration mode, but there isn't actually anything to celebrate yet this weekend. Go to the game, 7:30.
Make it happen.
I think that we do a pretty good job on our 7:30 games. So I get it's Boston College, but when we're ranked, I feel like it's a better crowd than it isn't more times than not. So
I think it'll be a great crowd. And now we found out today. I hated to kind of. I feel like I was being a little bit of a turd in the punch bowl yesterday with this uniform because there's all this mystery about the big reveal, and I was like, I think it's going to be the black uniform that we talked about this summer that they initially said they'd wear against Virginia. I mean, just logic said they didn't wear it in that game because it was going to be 90 degrees despite being early October. Then you've got a night game, cooler temps against BC. I was like, I think that this is probably what we're going to see, and sure enough, they unveiled it today. It is the retro black Adidas uniform that they showed us back in August. But it looks great. I mean, the video, it's not technically a blackout. We're going to have this question a million times. At least they haven't announced it as such. I can't imagine they're going to do it on 2 days' notice. But those uniforms, have you seen it?
I haven't. Oh, yeah, I have.
Very cool.
I like the stripe on the helmet a lot.
Yeah, you got the Heisman bird on the Matt helmet. The stripe on the helmet needs to stay. I think it's fantastic. The retro look across the chest. It's a good look. But just sadly, I was kind of disappointed it wasn't something that we hadn't seen before. It'll be okay. It'll be fine. Do we start talking about Tom Izzo now?
Yes.
Okay. I sent you the audio clip just because not everybody's heard it. But if you hadn't, Tom Izzo got in front of the mic last night. I didn't see this till this morning. It happened super late when it started circulating. He was asked specifically about Louisville going out there and getting a G League player. London Johnson is his name. He's got a name. And he did not hold back on his thoughts. And this is the slightly abbreviated clip. His full answer is like 4 minutes long, but this gives you the gist of it. It's about 1:40 long. Here's Tom Izzo talking about Louisville taking a player who spent the last 3 years in the G League.
Kids aren't the problem. We're the problem. This was...
You don't hear anything?
I don't hear anything.
It's doing that thing again.
Oh, God.
I don't know how or why it does this. Like, it's showing me on my audio board here that it's playing the audio.
This is classic Big X. This is vintage Big X.
Let me just refresh and see what it does.
There's mysteries here that will just never simply be solved. We'll be 80 years from now, radio historians will say that there was no logical explanation. It's like the Shroud of Turin when it comes to radio. The technology was right. Everything was in the right place. It's supposed to work flawlessly, and it just simply didn't. Historians don't know why. They've tested it, they've run diagnostics, and they just can't figure. The Big X was a modern marvel of technological ineptitude. Not really ineptitude, just doesn't work. Just there's no explanation for it. Do you want to try one more time, or is there no hope here?
Yeah, I just did. Matt texted, said the same thing was happening during Kentucky roll call.
Well, I know who to blame now. Thanks, TJ. TJ Walker.
Let me see if this works.
I hear something. Here we go.
The problem. This was sprung on us again yesterday, where a guy can be in the G League for 2 or 3 years, and then all of a sudden he's eligible. Most of my people knew nothing about it. I don't think our commissioner. I am not real excited about the NCAA or whoever's making these decisions without talking to us, just letting it go because they're afraid they're going to get sued. So you're right. I said that this really bothers your coach if you're Michigan State fans. But if you want a silver lining in the cloud, I am going to call Magic tonight. I'm going to call Jaren Jackson, Miles, Gary, Max. You know, this just goes to show you how ridiculous people that are in power make decisions. I mean, you know, and I'm going to get killed because someone's going to say, well, if they go pro, it doesn't work out, shouldn't they be able to come back? Well, what about the freshman you recruited there? That's somebody's son. And he thinks he's got himself a good place, and all of a sudden, shazam, they pull out of their hat and bring a 21 or 22-year-old in. To me, it's ridiculous. To me, it's embarrassing. And I love my job. I don't respect my profession. And I don't respect who's ever doing that. Whoever made those decisions, because they're afraid that a lawyer's going to sue them, sooner or later, you got to fight the fight.
There it is. So, Tom Izzo, a lot to unravel there.
It's from my phone speaker. Hope it went through well.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like all the way touching the mic.
All right. It sounded okay. The folks, the folks on the YouTube stream are saying they could hear it originally. I think that's one of those deals where you can hear it on stream, but you can't hear it over FM, AM radio.
Oh,
which
I see.
I don't know why that keeps
really
happening.
Weird.
It is
so
super
YouTube
weird.
could hear it, and TV could probably hear it, but.
So, I mean, Izzo basically there, again, lot to unpack. But he talks about, the main takeaway is he's saying it's ridiculous, it's shameful. He doesn't directly say anything about Louisville.
He's trying to, but he wants to.
The implication is if you're trying to utilize this loophole, then you're part of the problem as well. I mean, the primary takeaway for me is this has been written about pretty extensively for over a month now. The first case with the NCAA ruling that the kid who's going to Santa Clara is eligible happened in September. And every person who's anybody in college basketball wrote at least a small snippet about it. We talked about it on this show. And he's like, we found out about this yesterday. I didn't know about it. Nobody on my staff knew about it. You're paid millions of dollars to know about these types of things, to know what's going on, to be aware of the changes that are happening in college basketball so that you can, like Louisville, exploit the rules to your advantage while they're still the rules. And in your eyes, Louisville's the first program to do this. This wasn't a thing for the last 5 weeks. You could have done this too if you wanted to. Now, clearly you don't want to, but the fact that you didn't know may be emblematic of the fact that you've been kind of lacking a little bit in recent years. Not quite the same Michigan State. Couple nice March runs, but never really threatening to win a national title over the last handful of seasons. You know, Izzo has ripped the transfer portal before. He's admittedly old school, which is fine, but if you don't change with the times are going to just completely bypass you, and it feels like that's a little bit of the deal. Now, Tom Izzo is a Hall of Fame coach, and he deserves to be. Tom Izzo is a loser. I don't like the way that he's carried himself for the last 5 to 10 years. I don't like that he feels like he's somehow now above the sport. I don't like, he creates a controversy seemingly every March by like grabbing a player and like going off on him, and doesn't seem to really care. And if you think that's fine, then whatever. That a lot of people do. But here's my biggest problem with Tom Izzo. He gets a pass because he won one national title in 2000. And I bring this up all the time because I think it's a valid point. And it's one of my biggest butterfly effect things with college basketball. In 2000, Cincinnati was the best team in college basketball, and there was little pushback on that. They were dominant. They were loaded with future pros. They had the best player in the country in Kenyon Martin, one of the best college basketball players of all time. First round of the Conference USA tournament, I guess quarterfinals of the CUSA tournament, Kenyon Martin goes up, breaks his leg. That effectively ends Cincinnati's chances of winning a national title. They get beat in the second round. If Kenyon Martin lands normally in that game, I think it was against St. Louis. If he lands normally in that game, Cincinnati probably wins the national championship. Tom Izzo, instead of being a guy who feels like he has the carte blanche to throw his weight around in situations like this, on topics like this, because he's been to 8 Final Fours and won a national title, instead of being known like that, he is known as the biggest can't get over the hump guy, arguably in the history of college athletics. Forget college basketball. You go to 8 Final Fours and you have 0 national championships to show for it, that becomes your reputation. You are the Buffalo Bills of college basketball. But instead, because Kenyon Martin gets hurt and Michigan State gets the bracket kind of falls apart a little bit and they get to play a overachieving Florida team for the national title, people are like, well, he's got a ring. Got to respect the ring. If he didn't have that ring, and all it took was one awkward landing for him to get that ring, everything's a different story. I don't understand. You can have an issue with the rule. We all agree that it's weird, right? We said it on this show. It's weird that you've got players that have spent the last 2-3 seasons in the G League, essentially chasing that NBA dream, putting the idea of playing college basketball behind them, and now they're somehow eligible to go back and play college basketball. You can disagree with it. You can feel like it's weird. We think it's weird. It's still a rule. It's the rule. Teams are exploiting it. It's not just American basketball either. I mean, he's acting like this is the first case of a guy who had played real, true professional basketball who now is eligible to play in college. We had guys from Europe who had played professional basketball playing college basketball last season. We're going to have a whole hell of a lot more this year. And it's like we said on yesterday's show when we were talking about London Johnson. It feels different because everybody knows the G League is directly associated with the NBA. It's still no different than the guys that we have coming over from Europe this season. Sneijder played 4 years of professional basketball in Germany. Vangelis Zugras played multiple seasons of professional basketball in Greece. Mo Kamara's played, I guess he was NBA Academy Africa, so a little bit different. But Louisville's not the only program doing this. Tell me how Illinois got like 5 of these guys this season. Tell me how that's any different than the kid from the G League. If you have an issue with the rule, that's fine. But if you're acting like programs are part of the problem for exploiting the rule, that's where I have an issue. And then Danny Hurley chimes in, quote tweets the Tom Izzo video, and just does the spot on bullseye emoji, whatever. I'm fine with that.
He just did the same thing. He just went and got a Sonny Frew.
the hypocrisy runs rampant in college athletics. I'm just glad that Pat Kelsey's pissing off people. I love it. It's always been Louisville against everybody. Now it's even more so. Let's embrace it. I got a couple more thoughts on this after the break. We got to get to the break. Then we'll talk also Jeff Brom turning the page, getting over the Brom clunker. All that's coming your way after the break. It's the Mike Rutherford Show presented by United Mechanical, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. First S-bomb wasn't properly. So I was like, when he said someone's going to get laid, I was like, oh, God. I thought we were going to get a live F-bomb right there.
I mean, that's barely clean. Like,
You can hear almost
saying
the
the
whole
first
word.
syllable is basically saying it.
Once again, the edited versions of songs that we play here, just very hit or miss. Sometimes they're editing out words that I don't think are anything remotely bad, and the other time they're basically just like letting the person say the F word. You just never know what you're going to get, which is why you listen. Part of the reason why you listen. It's the 3 o'clock hour of the Mike Rutherford Show presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Reminder, United Mechanical is Louisville's MVP for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration services. Give them a call any hour, any day. Corey's going to be there to pick up the phone at 502-339-1133. You can also visit them online at unitedmechanicalinc.com. Talking about Tom Izzo's comments, taking shots, it seems like at Louisville, Danny Hurley piling on because the Cards have taken a player in London Johnson who spent the past 3 seasons playing in the G League. And Roman, I didn't give you a real chance to talk. I kind of ripped into Tom Izzo there, gave Danny Hurley a parting shot.
Enough of opinion about it to agree. And what's happening here is something that impacts no one. As much as I think it's weirder than anybody. I don't like it. As someone who's very extreme in my takes on what a college athlete should be. You know, I want a full-time student. I want a 3.0 GPA, and you can't play outside of that. If you don't have 4 classes on the schedule and all A's and B's and maybe a couple C's, I don't want you playing. I don't think that – I think it should be a set amount of money. Like, you should be getting paid to do this, not being paid because of what you are and all this. You get paid to play the sport, to get your name used in other facets, right? This is not something that technically impacts anyone, though. This is not a difference in the makeup of the sport. It's another way that teams can go and get players. That's all it is. It's just another way that teams can go and get players. It's no different than a 25-year-old who's never been to college, who's been a pickup guy his whole life, enrolling in a school and being a walk-on. It's no different than that. I don't understand why they care so much, like it's going to have some detriment.
How do you explain it to 17-year-old Jack, that 26-year-old, who's played for? He basically is implying that we're going to bring NBA All-Stars back into college basketball.
That's what,
they're
Jack.
Take the spot.
There's 14 other spots on the team. We can find one for you.
If you're good enough, you're going to play somewhere.
That's where I'm at. And I don't like the fact that you could kind of like, well, let's go grab this guy because we know he'll say yes to this number. Like, money is bringing kids back to this level of playing. I don't like that. No one should like that because that makes the feel of the game not feel right. And I understand that. This doesn't impact anyone. There's no negative impact on anyone at all. So I don't understand, like, even being upset at it as someone who's not involved.
I mean, he's pissed off at the times changing. He's pissed off at the ever loosening of the amateurism tagline associated with college athletics. And
well, that's every aspect of life, Tom.
You're not wrong. And we've said the same thing on the show since this whole rule. Like, the rule feels weird. It feels like there's got to be some sort of, there have to be some parameters right now, and the NCAA is kind of unwilling to step in and do anything about it. And, I mean, the one part of the whole rant that I agree with is the people that are in charge are terrified of going to court because they know they're going to lose. And can you blame them? I mean, is those things like they're scared they're going to go to court and lose? Because they've lost in court 1,000 straight times. No part of the way that college athletics had been run up until the past 5 years was legal. And every court action, every ruling, conservative judges, liberal judges, every single opinion has said the exact same thing. Like, yeah, you can't really do this where you got $1 billion industry and all the people doing the work aren't benefiting from it financially in any way, shape, or form outside of a scholarship. That's not okay. And he's mad about that. That's fine. He was really mad about the transfer portal a few years ago. He was like the college basketball Dabo. I want to develop guys from within the program. I don't think this is right. We're not going to go out there. Guess who's changed his tune in the last couple of years? Tom Izzo. They got 4 players coming in from the transfer portal this year, including former Cardinal Caleb Glenn, who's 22 years old. I mean, this is a guy who wouldn't be playing college basketball if this were a few years ago. Unfortunately, he's injured, so he's not.
What about little Frank from Michigan, who waited his whole life to get this moment?
Timmy's ready to play. And then you got this big bad guy named Divine coming in to steal his spot. There's some undertones there. And then to sort of accuse the schools of doing the wrong thing by exploiting this rule. I mean, Jeff Brom said it best. Jeff Brom hates the transfer portal. I can tell you, like, Jeff Brom does not like anything that's happening right now any more than anybody else. And why should he? He may recognize that it's the right thing to do. He may recognize that the players, this has been a long time coming. It makes his job far more difficult than it was 5 years ago. It makes the jobs of every coach in college athletics far more difficult. But the good ones are the ones who are going to say, I may not like this, but I got to roll with it. And Jeff Brom has said the only thing you can do is exploit the rules to the best of your advantage while they're the rules. because we don't know what the future holds. We don't know if it's going to be this way forever, but it is right now. All we can do is try to put ourselves in the best position to win. And for Louisville, they were ahead of the curve when it came to going out there and getting European professionals. Everyone else has started to follow suit there. Now it feels like ahead of the. You think they're going to be the last program to take a G League kid while this rule is still out there? Hell no. And to act like this is going to somehow ruin the game, people were saying the same things about the one and done rule back in the day, and that was far more impactful than this. Because the players that have been hanging around the G League for 2-3 seasons that haven't been good enough to get into the NBA, you think those guys are going to come to college basketball and immediately be first-team All-Americans?
No.
No. They're not. They're not going to be we're not bringing London Johnson here to start at point guard. He's here to be the Kobe Rogers for next year. He's here to be our backup point guard. Those players, if they were good enough to play at that level, they would have already come to college in the last couple of years and pick up an NIL check, or they'd be in the league. It's not going to be this just dramatic shift. It's just one more thing that you got to keep tabs on, and Tom Izzo doesn't want to work that hard anymore. He's old. He's been doing this for a long time. He wants it to stay the way that it was. He had it on cruise control for a long time.
He doesn't want to spend a dime on these players. I'm surprised he's not doing this. It's cheaper. Go get these guys on a pay cut from what you would normally have to pay.
No, he didn't concern himself with that. He's not involved in that. He's like, just give me the players and I'll coach them up. Let me yell at some kids. Let me yell at a 19-year-old like a good old-fashioned coach. Let me get in a teenager's face and just scream obscenities at him. That's the way that it's done. That's how you win games. That's how this works. I mean, they're a handful of their players that have made them competitive in recent. I mean, they took the Hauser kid from Virginia, the less good Hauser, went to Michigan State. But their inability initially to adjust to sweeping change has hurt the program in recent years. And they like Dabo, we're seeing at Clemson now, they all eventually do it. If this winds up being some great path to success, taking G League kids, which I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be near that impactful. You know who else is going to start doing this? Everybody. Everybody's going to start doing it. Because everybody wants to win. And that's what it all comes down to. He can be mad about things changing. He can be mad about programs doing this. At the end of the day, if he believed, and not being on top of the fact that this has been out there for like 5 weeks is on him. But if he genuinely believed that he could utilize this to win more basketball games for the next handful of seasons, he would do it too. And he will do it in the coming seasons if it proves to be the case. Now, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think this is nearly as big of a deal as he's making it out to be, but whatever. Go put on those fatigues and cosplay as a sergeant. Izzo. Get out of my face. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the clunker. This is the new focus of the week. So 2 years ago, after we beat Notre Dame, there's this whole thing about, Jeff Brom, in his previous wins over top 5 opponents, he's lost the next game every single time. And I said, my whole spiel then was, okay, go back and look at who he lost to. He was losing as an underdog in the game after those top 5 upsets. It's not like he was out there losing to Florida Atlantic after beating Ohio State or anything like that. Let's put this narrative aside. We're better than Pitt. Here are all the reasons why we're going to go up there and beat Pitt. If we lose to Pitt, it's not going to be the clunker. And we go up there and we lose to Pitt, who had not won a game in the ACC, and I don't think won another game in the ACC that season, 38-21. So I'm like, all right, lesson learned. Last year, go down to what was formerly known as Death Valley before they lost to LSU this year. Knock off number 14 Clemson as an 11-point underdog. First win over Clemson in program history. Biggest win of that season, bar none. Back in the top 25. People talking outside shot at making the conference championship game again. Season revived. And people are like, well, we got to avoid the Brom clunker. And I spent the entire week on this show saying, I get it. It happened last year. This team would lose to that Pittsburgh team by 1 billion points. Stanford is maybe the worst team in Power Conference football. There is nothing to be concerned about. Nothing to be concerned about. This team sucks. We can play a D- game and probably win by 10. We play a F+ game, and we lose on a last-second field goal in one of the most improbable and painful and inexplicable losses in program history. And I said after that game, that Monday, if Louisville has a top 10 type victory next season, I will not downplay the Brom Clunker effect. I will take it as seriously as possible. I will be terrified for that entire week, and I will share that fear with the entire listening base of this show. I got to make good on that promise. We are a larger favorite in this game, as of right now, 25.5 points, than we were against Stanford last year on the road. The game's at home. BC is 1-6. They're coming off a 13-point home loss to Connecticut. They've had no solid quarterback play. They're flipping and flopping quarterbacks left and right. I can't go back on my word. I can't just sit here and tell you this is going to be okay. There's nothing to be worried about. This is going to be different. I can't do it 3 years in a row. Having said that, there's nothing on paper that indicates that Louisville should have a problem in this game. Nothing on paper. In fact, if you look at the the trusted analytical models that are out there, we're talking the S&P, we're talking the FPI, we're talking the Pro Football Sports Network, all of them, they have Louisville winning this game by even a larger margin than the spread does. They're all like, it's pretty straightforward. Louisville should be undefeated right now. They are statistically a top 15 type squad. Boston College is one of the worst power conference teams in America. But this is a thing. It's out there. I can't go back on it now. That's me. I'm not Roman Kelly. I need a confidence level. We haven't done this yet because we haven't turned the page. The page is turned today. Wednesday's page turning day now. Confidence level, 1 to 10. That Louisville takes care of business on Saturday night against BC. 1, no chance we win. 10, no chance we lose. Where are you right now?
Mike, I'm at a 9.6.
Okay, I'm good with that. I was hoping you were going to say something along those lines.
There's virtually no chance we're going to lose this game. The quarterback play isn't experienced enough with whoever they're going to throw out there to go up against a defense like this, Mike. And the skill position players are just not anything scary. They're not anything too electric. They got a one receiver, the Bond kid, who can cut up a little bit, but ultimately I don't trust their ability to get the ball to him consistently. And I don't think that they're going to be able to run the ball much on us at all. So I'm very confident in Louisville getting the job done here in front of a very, very electric home crowd in their first night home game of the season.
Let's talk about the history of the Clunker. Because we did a little bit, I think we had a full show this season, or this summer, where we were diving into the details of the Clunker, and we're trying to analyze what game that could possibly be. And I did say BC, because I was like, if you're going by history, it comes after a gigantic win. At Miami would probably be the biggest win of the season. There you go. But if you're looking at, so everybody knows now, Jeff Brom, 4-0, or 4 wins in regular season games against top 5 opponents. And if you go back and you look at the teams that they lost to, at Purdue, it's, this was my spiel before the Pitt game 2 years ago. They lost to teams that were better than them. They beat number 2 Iowa on the road at Kinnick Stadium, and then the next week they got beat at home by a whatever Wisconsin team. It's still Wisconsin. They were an underdog in that team. Wisconsin did go 7-6 that season. They won a bowl game. They were 3-4 at the time of the game. So that's kind of what kicked off the Clunker talk. Now, later in that same season, they beat number 3 Michigan State, and they did lose the next game, but it was at number 4 Ohio State. So, they were a huge underdog. They did put 31 points on the board in that game. Unfortunately, Ohio State just put up 59, so that was a little bit different. And then, of course, we had the Pitt loss in 2023, the Stanford loss in 2024. So if you're going to take the Ohio State game off the board, there were a few commonalities in the 3 quote-unquote clunkers that are out there. One, they all were coming off of bye weeks. Guess what? We're not on a bye week. 2, those 3 games, they all came on the road. We're playing at home. 4, They all had another top 25 game looming just a week or 2 weeks after the clunker game. We don't have a top 25 game coming up. Is this enough to convince folks that we ain't worried about Saturday?
It needs to be.
It's different, is the point. This is different. This ain't the same. Not at home. I mean, not on the road. Not coming off a bye week. We don't have another ranked game coming up on the horizon to overlook this game with. Also, there are enough guys that are still on last year's team for Jeff Brom to be able to say, like, hey, we shouldn't need to talk about this, but let's talk about it. We had a big win. We put ourselves back in a position where it feels like we control most of our destiny. Let's not screw it up by going out there and laying an egg against the worst team left on our schedule. Let's take this just as serious as we took last week. Come on. Like, this was one of the big goals that we all had. When we talked about goals during the summer, I think you, me, most people who texted in their goals, they all had some form of let's get over the clunker thing. Are we buying that the Virginia game is the clunker? Is that the party line? Is that what the show needs to go with at this point? I kind of think it is.
We were out there clunking.
We played a terrible game against a team that we were better than. Now, it wasn't home, so that doesn't really jive. But still, I think this is what we sacrifice to the sports gods. We say, we already gave you the clunker. It was the Virginia game. Look at those numbers. We still have the most.
You did everything you needed to do to win, and you lost.
We still have the highest win likelihood of any team that's actually lost a game so far this season. It was like 91.8% or something like that was our win likelihood according to the S&P. That, to me, says clunker. We're getting over it this week. We're going to, what's the equivalent of, people have like those sages where they burn old things. You burn your boyfriend's old stuff or you burn your old girlfriend's old stuff. We need to like burn something to just get over the clunker and just retire it for good. Ain't no curses. Ain't no clunkers. We're moving past this. It's not happening. I'm taking the game seriously because I said I would. But you know what happened last year? We had John Burke on the show after that Stanford game. And it wasn't expecting John Burke to have some crazy insight. He gave us some crazy insight. He traveled with the team to Stanford. They got out there, and the Stanford president told them, you're the only team that's traveled the day before the game. Everybody else that's played here has come in 2 days earlier. And John Burke said, we wake up the next morning, and you could tell, our guys were sleepy. They weren't focused. He went through warm-ups. I was like, we're in trouble. I know Jeff wants to get in, get out, get the win, come back home, but it didn't work. We made a mistake by not traveling an extra day to the West Coast, and it bit us in the ass. That's how you explain that one. The Pitt game, bad field conditions, terrible weather, also just a bad game from Jack Plummer.
Terrible game from Jack Plummer.
Terrible game from Jack Plummer. I don't think Jeff Brom called his best game. He was overly focused on kind of beating him down and pulling away instead of relying on the run game to just grind out a 7 3-point victory, something along those lines, and the pick sixes killed us. None of those things are going to be an issue this weekend. They're not. But we still take it seriously. This is the weekend the clunker dies, Roman. Write a song about that, Don McClain. Let's go. We're moving on. We're going to be good. It's going to be fine. A couple of things to talk about. Well, first of all, did you see it's now official, I guess, the Tennessee coach, Tony Vitelli, is going to be the San Francisco Giants head manager?
No, I didn't see this.
It's official. It's been rumored for a couple of days. This guy's a loser. This guy, I'm just calling people losers left and right today. This guy's an absolute D-bag. And I've never had anything against the Giants outside of them consistently beating the Reds in critical moments. I've always called them Halloween Town. They have very average teams, it seems like. Then you get into the playoffs, and they miraculously become the 27 Yankees. And I feel like it's because their core colors are black and orange, just like Halloween, October. Prove me wrong, right? Now they're getting another coach with an orange background, but this guy, he is a complete a-hole. The Giants move right up there, just below, Cubs Cardinals, in my despised list. They're now my third least favorite team in baseball. Sorry to Art Carmody, Giants fan. I can't root for you guys anymore. Other thing that happened today, Jeff Walz had his preseason press conference. I don't know if you saw any of this or heard it, but the primary takeaway, the biggest takeaway I thought was him essentially saying the government shutdown is without question going to keep the season opener between Louisville and Connecticut from being played in Germany. It's been rumored for a couple of weeks.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, he came out and said, the exact quote was, I feel pretty confident that we're not going to Germany. I am 100% confident that we're going to play the game. It's just a matter of where. Now, he said in a few hours they were going to figure out where they were going to be able to play the game. But they had kind of been told, I think a couple of weeks ago, that if this thing didn't get figured out by Monday, October 20th, that they weren't going to be able to make the trip. And it sucks because, not just because it was going to be a spotlight game in Germany. It'll still be a spotlight game over here. They're still going to play it on November 4th is my understanding. And UConn's coming off a dominant national title run. They're preseason #1. This will be a nice spotlight game for the Cards. But Jeff loves taking these types of trips. I think he's the type of coach where obviously he wants to win as many games as possible, wants to win a national title, but he also is about providing a big-time experience for his women. And he loves taking the abroad trips. They went to Paris last year to open the season against UCLA and did a bunch of different things, traveled around before the game. And even though they lost a heartbreaker to a really good team, a lot of the players came back and spoke glowingly about the experience. And he was talking about, the people behind the scenes with the program had already planned a number of things. They'd already booked, tours at various places, and now that all kind of falls by the wayside. So it sucks. This was supposed to be the third game and the first women's game played at Ramstein Air Base in Germany. Back in 2012, UConn beat Michigan State, suck it Izzo, and Texas A&M played at West Virginia in 2017. This was going to be the first women's game and the third game overall, and now it's not going to happen, at least over there. Now, Walsh, he made a point to say, like, I know you guys want me to go on a political rant or something like that, and I'm not going to do it. But he did express frustration that the government leaders had a month to figure this out and couldn't get it done, which I can understand. He doesn't know. He's like, this happened on October 1st. The longest government shutdown in history, I think, is 33 days. We're now kind of getting into that territory, and it's screwing with the start of his season and screwing with an experience that they had planned out that was going to be pretty special. I assume he and Gino will come to an agreement on where to play this game. They're good buddies. They will be able to, I think, hash this out. But to my knowledge, it's not out there as far as where they're going to play. There have been some rumors that they could be able to play that game in Louisville. We'll find out. I think it's more likely that it'll be at a neutral site, but it sucks. Number 1 UConn, number 20 Louisville, not going to go down in Germany for reasons that are beyond either side's control. Not cool, Roman.
Not cool at all. Government needs to get their stuff together, Mike.
Come on. Do it for the girls. Government. Do it. Come on. Not going to happen, though, but it will be played. The last thing on my list to get to here today, we have only 3 NBA players from Louisville on the opening night rosters, which is not a surprise. Like, we knew this was going to be the case for a long time. But it does kind of like, I don't know, Roman, it kind of smacked me in the face this morning when I saw that stat being thrown around. You've got, Donovan Mitchell on the Cavs, Terry Rozier on the Heat. Chucky Epron, by the way, is on, as of right now, the opening night roster for the Toronto Raptors. Props to him. But nobody beyond that is still, it feels wrong. Like, it just kind of reinforces the fact that we've been going through an not just atypical, arguably the worst on-court era in the history of Louisville basketball, and now you're kind of feeling the effects of that. It's not going to be this way forever. It's not going to be this way for a long time. But just 3 players on NBA rosters from Louisville feels super strange.
It does. It does feel strange. Obviously, there's a lot of guys that have been in the in-between realm for quite some time now. Ray Spalding, Malik Williams, trying to figure it out. But ultimately, I think that we just have to be positive about what the future looks like for us, Mike. Chucky's now made it to the NBA. Can see if he can make it stick. You have Michael Brown planning to be a potential lottery pick. And then we've also know that we're going to be trying to bring these guys in the future, guys that are high-level guards. So both in the portal and in high school recruiting, it's going to start back up for us.
By the way, Chucky showed up at the Raptors game a couple days ago dressed up as Chucky.
That's really
awesome.
Cool.
Very happy for him. Point guard you. Don't forget it. Coming back from the break, we will take texts from you guys on the Game Day Men's Health text line. 502-414-1450 is the number. Questions, comments, concerns, whatever you got. We'll hear them after the break. Keep it locked right here on 1450 The Big X. Wednesday edition of the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Roman, did you know that OpenAI has told Sora users that they've banned certain Sora users from the text-to-video feature that allows them to create disrespectful depictions of Martin Luther King Jr.?
What?
Have you seen any of these?
I haven't seen any of these.
There has been reportedly an influx of viral videos that present Martin Luther King as a heel in WWE settings, where he's in the ring giving heel talks on the microphone, and they've put the kibosh on this. They're not going to let it happen.
Who thinks to do that?
I don't know, but apparently a lot of the kids are enjoying it these days.
You just shut that Sora app down.
Yeah,
nothing good can come from that.
I mean, and it's only going to continue to happen. It's whatever, but there's this is it's light stuff at first, and then it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. But that's where we are right now. That's where we're headed. Game Day Men's Health text line is where we're headed next. By the way, 502-414-1450 is the number. Game Day Men's Health, redefining men's wellness with no shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, and sexual performance therapy. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com and find out how they're defining a new era in men's health. Let's get to it. Let's see what you guys have on your minds today. Terrified as always, but let's make it happen. 502-414-1450. Texture says, Pat Kelsey's lover here I'm happy about the win, but is it concerning that we only won by 3 against Miami with 4 takeaways? Well, you can tell we've hit the midway point in the week. It's no longer, hey, we beat the number 2 team in the country. It's, should we have beaten the number 2 team in the country by a little bit more? I mean, we didn't capitalize on their turnovers as much as we likely should have. We capitalized enough to win. I'm not going to be concerned about turning Miami over 4 times, especially going up against that defense. Texture says, I have to admit, last night's NBA on NBC coverage was impressive. From the sit-down with MJ to the nostalgia of the old 90s NBA theme music in the pregame, the only questionable moment was wondering why the hell Carmelo Anthony was wearing a jumpsuit, but Vince Carter and T-Mac had on suits. Every time Carmelo Anthony does one of these podcast episodes, like he's been on the podcast with Mace and Cameron, and he is always wearing like the same jumpsuit. I don't think Carmelo Anthony is allowed to wear suits, but we'll see how it goes. I am excited to watch the ESPN coverage tonight. I think it's the first time that we're going to get the NBA on ESPN after show. Curious to see if it feels the same as it did on TNT. I'll check it out for sure. Texter says, this is Roman Hater. Heard Scoots was doing color for the Midway game this week. Make sure. Okay, I'm not going to read that. I'm not going to read that text. I'm not going to read the end of it. Come on. Texter says, what's the percentage chance that Mike, Roman, and Jimbo will be chugging 4 Locos on ACC Huddle? So, yeah, I don't think we've mentioned this. The ACC Huddle, which is essentially the ACC's version of College Game Day, is going to be in town for the Boston College game this weekend. It's usually, they go typically wherever the primetime game on the ACC network is. It's Eric McClain, Taylor Tannenbaum. Who else is on that show? It used to be Mark Richt. Now I think it's Jimbo Fisher and somebody else. It's cool. Now, this is the first time that they've ever been to Louisville. They've had ample opportunity, obviously, and have not made it happen. But with Louisville coming off of the big win over Miami, up in the national rankings, the other games being designated to other networks this weekend, it all worked out perfectly for them to make the trip here. Excited about it. Eric McClain said he'd never been to Louisville. I know the State of Louisville guys have been on him for a long time. I think he's going to do some stuff with them this week. That'll be a whole hell of a lot of fun. But, yeah, I would love to just get Jimbo chugging a 4 Loco before this game. That's kind of on Roman to make happen. Texter says, Riddler here. The outrage over London Johnson is ridiculous. It's no different than signing an international player. If anything, the G League is a less prestigious level of basketball. TJ is a clown. Well handled, producer Matt. I didn't hear what TJ said or what producer Matt said in response, but I'm sure Matt did a great job. I do agree with Izzo that the decay of college basketball to allow pros, international, or G League has been disappointing for me, but let's not act like Louisville started this. PK and his staff's jobs are to win games at Louisville, not police the integrity of the game for completely legal options. Perfectly said. Perfectly said. They're paid to win basketball games. They aren't paid to win basketball games through legal routes that they feel are more morally approachable than others. Exploit what you have to exploit. People have been doing this for years. It's all about wins at the end of the day. All about wins. And any program that tries to mask that with other avenues, if they weren't winning at a high enough level, nobody would care that they're doing things, quote unquote, the right way. And to be clear, there's nothing wrong about what Louisville's doing. They're exploiting the same rule that other programs are and that even more programs will continue to do moving forward. It's ridiculous. Texas, hey, Mike. It's good to know that there's a high possibility of us hosting UConn's women's team instead of playing the game in Germany. I couldn't care less if the government shutdown causes 1.4 million federal employees to go without a paycheck, seniors not having health care, and millions going hungry. I just want the Cards to have home court advantage. See, there's the attitude. I know you're joking. I don't know if we're even going to get the game at home. We'll find out. Texas, with all the first-time texter, by the way, Cowboy, with all the reports coming out about Florida offering Marcus Freeman and him immediately turning them down, and them now being in contact with Lane Kiffin, if Lane turns them down, do you think Brom will be a strong target for Florida? I mean, I think he'll be a strong target. I don't think he has any interest in going there. I think Lane Kiffin's going to take the Florida job. I don't think he wants to leave the SEC, but I do think that he feels like, I mean, Florida is a more prestigious program historically than Ole Miss. They've been more relevant nationally in my lifetime. They're kind of one of the biggest sleeping giants out there. They've made a history of their most famous coach in my lifetime is a brash, offensive-minded guy who was one of the biggest personalities, if not the biggest personality in the sport. That's kind of who Kiffin aspires to be. He's like the new Spurrier anyway. So bring him back down there. Let him try to revive the program. I think that will be their primary target. The Marcus Freeman thing to me is weird. Why would Marcus Freeman? I mean, Marcus Freeman's a Notre Dame guy. I get that the SEC has more money. I get that the Big Ten has more money. That's what. It's not like Notre Dame is going to have a shortage of money. They don't care about really any sport besides football. Women's basketball has been great. Basketball's been up and down. Baseball's been up and down. All of their rev sharing money is going to go to football. And they're also in a pretty solid spot when it comes to making the CFP. They eliminated the rule that says you can't get a bye without being a conference champion. There's no more of that anymore. Notre Dame, if they go 12-0 in a season against a solid non-conference schedule, they'll be a top 4 seed in the playoff. I mean, they've got 2 losses already, and people are saying if they win out, they're going to be in the playoff. He's in a good position. He's paid well enough. He's a Notre Dame guy. I don't know why he would. I'm surprised that was Florida's first call, if any of those reports are accurate. I do think they'll go to Lane Kiffin next, and I think ultimately he'll take the job. If they don't, they'd be silly if they didn't call Jeff Brom, but Jeff Brom ain't going there.
Sorry, Mike, I had to check the plumbing.
I know you did. It's okay. There are a couple questions that brought you up, but we can go back to them. Were you listening? What was TJ saying? Apparently, producer Matt was giving TJ the smackdown on this London Johnson.
TJ was trying to take the stance that it's embarrassing for Louisville to be going and getting a G League player like this. One more point that he made after that, I can't remember, but Matt, just letting him know, depth at, taking advantage of the rules while you can, not going and trying to go make a G League guy your go-to guy here, nothing like that. Just taking a player that's going to be a little bit cheaper than a lot of other players are. And then I guess a lot of the replies from TJ were hypotheticals, and Matt pointed that out.
A lot of whatabouts. What did you think of the coverage last night on NBC? People wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I thought it was good. I thought it was really good, actually. I thought it was interesting to see 3 ringless losers interviewing Chet on what it means to get his ring on opening night. I thought that was funny. But I like Jamal Crawford. I just thought it's that rough picture for them there when Chet's throwing the ring into the camera and they're all just sitting there looking at him, knowing that they've never felt that. But I thought the coverage was great. I thought the graphics were great. I thought they did a good job. Halftime was not as entertaining, obviously, but overall it was still a really good product. I mean, Reggie's gotten better and better and better at this job over the last few years, so I was entertained.
What do you make of Carmelo refusing to wear a suit? Rocking the jumpsuit
like that.
With Vince and T-Mac in full suit.
I don't like that.
I'm excited to see the ESPN coverage.
If your 2 co-hosts are wearing a suit, put a suit on. You've got I'm sure you've got some deal with some clothing brand. They'll send you some free nice suit. You could still be fly in a suit. You really don't look fly in that setting wearing a jumpsuit, in my opinion. So
no. Let me, before we move on, the Jeff Brom being targeted by other programs talk it's clearly not going away. Nor should it. Everybody's now is giving the same take about how, hey, why don't we talk about Jeff Brom as one of the 10 best coaches in college football, and he does this every year. At what point he's won more games than anybody in the ACC since he got the job at Louisville. Why don't we talk more about texted some people last night? Obviously, nothing is ever completely out of the realm of possibility. I stand by what I said. Yes, I would be shocked if Jeff Brom isn't the coach here next year. Beyond shocked, I'll say that. It would take something unforeseen let your mind go crazy. We've had these, when you say unforeseen and you're a Louisville fan, your mind immediately goes to like the wildest of circumstances. It would take something along those lines for Jeff Brom to leave Louisville and take any of the jobs that are currently available or are going to be available at the end of the season. Not saying he'll never leave. Absolutely not saying that. He ain't leaving now. Unless, we won the national title. In which case, fine. That you can go wherever you want at that point. We're a national title winning program. We can go out there and get another good head coach. Would love for you to stick around and win more.
Yeah, even more reason to stay, though, if he does that.
Yeah, but I don't – he's not going anywhere. Feel very confident in saying that. Texter says, Lazard guy here. What's up, Lazard guy? Say it to Pat's face, Izzo, you bum. Zhang hasn't made a shot all year. Cry. It was the last time that Michigan State was a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Bounced in the Sweet 16 by Rick Pitino and company in 2012. Also set a record for the least amount of points by a number 1 seed in a Sweet 16 game ever, which I don't think will ever be topped. I think it was 42, 57 to 42. Loser mentality. Loser attitude. Texas, what are your thoughts on the latest my thoughts on the latest Cardinal commitment video? I didn't get a chance to watch it last night. I felt bad. But these are Boxcar Bob's thoughts. Loved the impromptu physical challenges at Baxter Jacks, but that whole time I was thinking, please no one turn their ankle in the sand. I love that they were showing some defensive 5-on-5s. Communication and effort was off the charts. I liked seeing that Kaysen was in there too. Looks like he's coming along pretty quick. Zoo remains atop the, quote, players that fans will absolutely love chart. I think you're right. We may see more of him than we originally thought. Loved seeing Donovan back here practicing with the guys and pumping them up. Having former players like him and Siva coming and giving back to this program after the leave is so huge. Did you watch the video?
I didn't finish it.
I didn't get a chance to watch it. But I've seen some of the clips that are out there. I saw the one of Donovan doing the box-out drills, which I think is very, very cool. I'm excited to check out the full thing tonight. Texas says, TJ once again proving he's an idiot and trying to bully producer Matt. Quick random question. When you tie your tie, what type of knot do you use? What is it? I think like the half Windsor, whatever the most basic one is. Roman, do you know different types of knots?
No. Let me see here. I think I know the
Yeah, I think I do the half Windsor. If I'm going to a wedding, I'll do like a full Windsor. But the half Windsor is like the basic one. Like, that's how I first learned how to tie.
I do the Kelvin.
Oh, you're a Kelvin guy.
Yeah.
Exotic. All right. I don't think I even know.
I didn't realize that. I mean, it's just, I feel like the Kelvin's just like a sideways, too tight version of the Windsor.
I had never tied a tie until I was getting ready to start high school. And my dad is like he's one of those guys that like knows a ton about a lot of stuff, but gets so frustrated when you don't grasp things. And he was trying to teach me how to tie a tie, and like just he's not good in situations like that. And he was like, I can't do this anymore after like 5 seconds. So I had to go on the old school internet, dial up internet in like 1999, and print out directions about how to tie a tie because my mom didn't know, and like print them out and figure out how to do it. And then it took me so long to really grasp it. I would just always leave the knot in when I took the tie off at the end of the day, so I wouldn't have to retie it. I got it down eventually, but I'm a self-taught tie tier.
I am really impressed here with these. I thought there was one way to tie a tie, and that was just a universal way.
There basically is. You don't.
There's a bunch of different wraparounds for some of these here.
If you're going to an average wedding, not like your richest friend's wedding, but like an average wedding, the amount of people that are at that wedding who are going to be able to tell what type of knot you tied, if it's anything other than like a basic half Windsor or a four in hand, there's maybe 3 people there. I've never judged. I mean, unless it's glaringly bad, I've never judged a knot on a tie in a social setting. Unless you're like, the president of the United States, and you're like the tie's hanging off, it's sideways, the knot is massively huge. Like judging tie, I think is silly in 2020.
I'm gonna start doing this.
Now you're gonna be like a tie expert.
Yes,
you're gonna be defined by your tie game.
Nice Windsor there you got.
you're gonna have a knot that doesn't even I don't even know the name. You're just gonna make up a name. You're like, it's the
got this Van Wilk on right now.
This is the British blender. This is the. I'm like, is that even a real thing?
It's just dangling from my neck. It's not even tied.
If you have to ask, you'll never know. I'm like, damn, Roman's just he's really just big leaguing me on the tie tying. Just showing up here at Big X Studios, rocking the tie every single day. Texas Bill O'Brien said he, quote, knows they aren't winning games right now, but there is nothing we can do about that in his press conference. They're all checked out. Cards by 40. Can I make a counterpoint?
Yes.
Because I'm refusing to overlook this game. This is our North Dakota texter, by the way. They have to win this to maintain bowl eligibility. They're 1-6 right now. One more game, they got no shot at playing in the postseason. They're going to come out fired up on Saturday. I mean, they look pretty checked out in the UConn game.
They're not playing in a bowl game.
I watched some of the highlights, and I was like, oh, yeah, they're going half speed out there. This is bad. Producer Matt says, Roman, for me so far, it's been the material. I have my notes, and I'm educated about it, but it's me trying to get all of my points out, and I start thinking about what I want to say instead of just focusing on what I am saying.
Yeah, that happens. I'll have it all written out, details, stats. How do I want to put this all together? Now I'm rambling.
I think I've told you this story before. I know I've said it on the radio before. But if it makes you feel better about feeling like you're still struggling a little bit, the very first time I ever did radio, very first time, was with Matt Jones. He, I'm in college at this point. I'm a junior in college. I just started doing a blog. I think I'd gone on his podcast during the summer, and he just started doing radio at Dugan Station, the old 1450, not 1450, it was like 1570 The Zone, something like that. And he had told me, can you just come in and talk to me? Would love to work out something or talk about your interest in doing some radio at some point. And we sit down and we talk. And then he's like, all right, I'm about to go on. Do you want to come on with me? And I was like, I'm not mentally prepared for this. I was like, I had no idea I was about to do radio for the first time in my life. And we went on, and it was, we shot the bleep. We talked college basketball. But at one point, this was early March, and the conference tournaments were just starting. And I said the phrase, I have a boner for mid-major basketball. And
on your first ever radio show?
I was brash back in the day, bro. I feared nobody. This was new media, Mike. This was I'm breaking down the glass door. I'm shattering the glass ceiling. I don't give a damn. And the producer during the break was like, yeah, probably shouldn't say that. He's like, use erection. And all I could think of was, I have an erection for mid-major basketball sounds so much worse. It sounds so much more vivid. There is an actual sexual component.
You're serious.
Yeah, this isn't a joke. It's a medical issue.
Turn on right now.
If I turn on the OVC tournament, you're all going to want to back up a little bit. It's about to get super weird in here.
Might start saying funny stuff. You never know.
I mean, he tells me that, and I'm embarrassed, but I'm also like, well, I'm not going to say that. I'm if I have the same thought again, I'm not going to use erection in my description of my feelings about sports. It's just not going to happen. I was like, that's 10 times worse. And that was the first time where I was like, I don't know if I belong in radio. I don't know if I can do this. And yet, 20 years later, here we are. So you want to, at least your first time on the radio didn't go as awkwardly as mine did.
And luckily, I don't ever have, those kind of statements don't ever come to me with positive things. It's always negative things. And I get into me and Rashawn debating, and now my true vocabulary wants to come out when I'm debating and arguing, because you're flowing, you're thinking. You're not actually thinking about how it sounds on the radio when you get really, really into it. Luckily, I've been doing a good job, I think, of holding back on the really. I don't have an in-between, Mike. I have to say really, really basic stuff because I don't say those basic things off the radio.
Oh, when I started doing this full-time, I was terrified. That, you hear it on the podcast. That's
he's bleeping bleep.
That's how I talk normally, for the most part. And so I was very concerned that I wasn't going to be able to flip that off. And, I've been doing this on a daily basis now for over a decade. And I think just one time have I actually cussed on air. And it wasn't even I was trying to say one word and I said the S word. So it wasn't even I'm talking like my normal self and I just forgot what I'm doing. It was
slipped.
I slipped up. I just said the wrong thing. And that was bad, but it was. I mean, if you had asked me 10 years ago, hey, you're going to be doing radio full time for besides like 1 year off for a full decade, how many times do you think you're going to cuss on the air? I'd be like, oh God, like
Once a month.
125 probably. Thankfully, we've only gotten one.
Shout out to Lance McGarvey. He texted me after we brought that up. So that says I'm doing a great job and that it's good to improve.
If Lance says you're doing a great job, then you know you're doing a great job. That's an A+ professional right
Made me
there.
feel good seeing that.
Texter says, did you get a chance to listen to the Pat Kelsey radio show? My takeaway was that the starters are set and he isn't giving anything away. I only heard clips. I did hear him say that there was a question out there from Paul about, it's early, they haven't played a game, but can you spot any real clear differences between the team last year and the team this year? And he said, I mean, what do you think he said? Like, just from a pure playing standpoint.
He said they're better.
But he said that this is the best three-point shooting team he's coached. And I think this was it'd be a shock if they weren't. It'd be a disappointment if they weren't. You're at Louisville. You'd expect to have a better, more well-rounded outside shooting team than you had at Winthrop or Charleston. And, last year's team was so many different great things. They were not an elite three-point shooting team. They had one elite three-point shooter and then a bunch of guys that were streaky and some guys that probably didn't need to be shooting it as much as they were. This year's team, I think you've got at least 2 elite outside shooters. You've probably got 3 or 4 really good outside shooters. And he was like, yeah, like this is the best collection of shooters that I've ever been around. And it's nice to hear him say that. But when you think about it, it would be disappointing if this group were anything less than that, just based on the guys that we went out there and got, and knowing based on 3 or 4 years of college data that like Ryan Conwell is a career 40% three-point shooter. Isaac Maneely, same thing. Michael Brown, we've seen him throughout the summer be able to light it up from the outside. Woolley lit it up in his first season of college basketball. Hadley's a good outside shooter. Kason Pryor can be hit or miss. Like, what you're getting for the most part with this group when it comes to that element of their game. So I heard him say that. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to hear the clip that you're talking about with regards to the starters. So maybe fill me in a little bit there. Texture says, what's up, Mike? 2 questions. 1, any feel for the Josh Irving commitment tomorrow, and any word on Duke Watson's injury status going forward? So Josh Irving, the center from California that has been recruited heavily by Louisville for the last several months, announced that he is going to be announcing his commitment tomorrow. My understanding is, so his final 3 are Louisville, Kentucky, and Texas A&M. My understanding is that it's either going to be us or A&M, and that it's probably going to be A&M. We'll see. But would love to be surprised. It's never good when the word is, there's a buzz out there that a certain player is leaning towards a different school, and then that same day, it's like, oh, I'm announcing my commitment very soon. Typically means that he's going to that school. I think Josh Irving will commit to Texas A&M. Would love it if he commits to us, but it sounds like he's headed to the state of Texas, which, whatever. Don't love it. Not terrible. Also, Duke Watson, I got no insight on Duke Watson. None. No idea. I don't think we'll hear anything until
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow night we'll get the first ACC injury report. We'll see if he's, if there's a possibility of him playing, he won't be listed as out. If he is just done, then he'll be out. I mean, always curious / terrified to see those first injury reports, but it's been all kind of mum on that front as far as what's going on. So we'll find out tomorrow night. Unless I hear something in the next 24 hours, in which case you'll find out on the show tomorrow. We got to go to break. When we come back, more from you guys on the Game Day Men's Health text line. 502-414-1450 is the number to weigh in with questions, comments, concerns, whatever you got. We'll take more of them after the break. This is the Mike Rutherford Show. We are presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, and we are live here on 1450 and 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. night, but did you happen to catch a glimpse of what Cam Boozer did in Duke's exhibition opener last night?
Yeah.
33
Kid
points.
looks good.
33 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 12 of 19 from the field in Duke's win over Central Florida. By the way, the game featured a very awkward intro where John Shire and Mike Krzyzewski welcomed UCF head coach Johnny Dawkins to midcourt, and Krzyzewski went down to one knee and tried to do the "we're not worthy" thing from Wayne's World, and couldn't get back up. The cringe was off the charts. But Cam Boozer, he looks like a. Did you watch the highlights?
Yeah.
He looks like a more polished, more talented, Shane Bohannon.
Yep.
To me, he's a little bit undersized to do what he's doing at the college level when he goes to the NBA. The outside shot, he needs space and time to get it off, and it looks like it's not going to be super reliable. He was, I think, 4 of 7 from 3 last night. I don't know if he's going to do that on a nightly basis, but the motor is outrageous, and his ability to ball hunt on both sides of the floor is off the charts. I mean, his offensive rebounding ability was outrageous. We talk about the teams where we're going to need to be more physical against this season to have a chance, and why you went out there and got Snodafru. Watch their highlights, and you see it. He is a more athletic Common Malawak when it comes to being able to just have a feel for the ball around the rim. He looked very good in that in those highlights last night.
I thought Boozer showed it all. Mikey's weirdly doesn't look skilled. I don't know how to explain this.
I agree.
When you watch him, he doesn't look like he's going to do anything that's going to wow you, but then every move that he makes out there, it's like the person guarding him, there's nothing they can do to stop it.
Yeah, he's always on the verge of being kind of herky-jerky. He banked in a 3 last night.
It was shot clock, whatever.
Yeah,
but
he gets where he needs to go, and the ball goes in the basket. It doesn't look, and he's overly pretty, but it's very effective.
Relentless in his effort to make that happen.
Yeah.
And I tried to. I didn't know how to pinpoint what I was seeing because I haven't watched. I don't like judging the high school. These types of recruits up against players that aren't the same level of them at all. And I get this is, obviously he's coming in and he's not really in the same tier as most freshmen. But it was kind of hard to gauge because you don't see him doing traditional things that go-to guys at his size typically do. I think he's going to be really good, Mike. But I wasn't impressed with, how some of the other guys looked, even in the highlights.
I'm trying very hard not to overreact to any exhibition thing. Like I said, I'm writing about it for this week, about how all college basketball fans are going to have to get used to weird, wonky exhibition scores that don't really mean anything. But I watched a solid chunk the other night of Nebraska BYU. First of all, DeBansa, who they kept calling him DeBonsa, or they were pronouncing it very differently, but it was both commentators. So I was kind of wondering if I've been saying it wrong this whole summer and everybody else has been saying it wrong this whole summer. But he looked very good against Nebraska. But BYU lost to Nebraska, 90-89, and it did look a little bit clunky at times. Like the ball, they've got 3 really elite level scores, and the ball just kind of stops with them sometimes when they get in the half court. Maybe that's because they're not trying to show big time half court sets in an exhibition game. But I thought DeBansa looked very good, scored 30 points, scored in a variety of ways. So far the freshman hype, they've lived up to it in their first glimpses from the rest of the country. And now the stage is going to flip to Michael Brown and Darren Peterson on Friday night, and hopefully they can put on a show as well. But that's what people are going to have an eye on. I want to go back to the text line in just a second, but the exhibition on Friday, there are still tickets available, most of them in the upper level, and they're going for over $80 still. They're still set at over $80. There are some fans that are upset about this. There are some other fans that are like, look, they're trying to make a buck. This is Kansas, for God's sake. We're not playing Georgetown College in exhibition play anymore. What do you make of this, with the pricing being this high for upper-level tickets for an exhibition game?
Mike, you know my stance on this.
Uh-huh.
Get it as cheap as you can to where if you sell every ticket, you're profiting. Because you're more likely to sell every ticket if they're as cheap as they can be.
I mean, I'm just going to say it. I don't fault U of L for doing this. I understand that it's now more than ever, it's a business. I ain't paying $80 to go to an exhibition game and sit in the upper level. I'm just not. If you wanted to take your family, imagine that you've got 3 kids that are diehard college basketball fans. They're in awe of Kansas basketball. They've always wanted to see the Cards go up against the Jayhawks, and you're taking them to the upper level. You're bringing your wife along. It's 5 of you. I mean, it's like a $500 evening to go to an exhibition game and have crummy seats compared to what the lower bowl tickets are going for, which is like $240 a pop.
Am I crazy for thinking that if you make your plan of action selling out every single game, like, doesn't that, I get that, okay, there's going to be a financial take to that. You're not making as much money as you possibly could on all of your home games when you are a team that does bring in a lot of fans, right? With that being said, Mike, what happens if you're now put in the category as the best fan base in the sport, right? What does that do for you in recruiting? What does that do for you with NIL when you know that your fan base is going to get highlighted? What does that do for ESPN? They want to put you on TV more than anything now because they know that you're going to have the most electric crowd that you can watch as a neutral fan. I don't understand why we aren't trying to take advantage of a city that loves their team more than most cities love their college basketball team. Get every single fan in there that you can. You know how hard it is to win against a team that's got a sold-out crowd, Mike? Mm-hmm. It's tough. It's really tough.
I do think, it's not the worst business model either. Now, it would take years and years and years for this to profit.
I get it's like a project.
Right, but if you go back and you think about, remember the storyline about the consecutive home sellouts for Nebraska football, where even when they suck, like, it becomes this point of pride where people are willing to pay more dollars than they probably should to watch Nebraska play Iowa at noon on a Saturday, just because they want to be a part of keeping that alive. We get 100,000 regardless of who we're playing and regardless of how the team is. Notre Dame, remember, they were on the verge of, I think they actually did end up ruining their streak. But one time when they were on the verge, they had a booster step up and buy the remaining 4,000 seats just to make sure that it kept going. I do think it could be beneficial for the program to where people are willing to pay more just because it's the thing to do to be at the game. But it's just so difficult now when the Yum Center first opened. There was a Kentucky game that when we got killed by Josh Harrelson where we all really wanted to go, and I got top row tickets for $100 a pop, and I was like, I just want to be in the building, The watch from home situation's way better than it used to be. I think people are now realizing that traffic, money, the whole thing. It's so much to go to a game now. I'd love for U of L to make it as easy as possible. I get why they don't. But the atmosphere on Friday, it should be the best atmosphere that we've ever had for an exhibition game, but I still think it's going to be several steps below what it would be for a regular season game against a team of the caliber of Kansas, a top 20 team, just because people aren't going to pay $400 to take their family to an exhibition game. They're just not. They may love Louisville basketball as much as you could possibly love Louisville basketball, but it's just, for some people, it's just not fiscally responsible to do that. And I completely get it. I do think you'll have a very solid crowd. Like I said, I think it'll be a much better environment than what you saw when Pikeville or whoever would come to town.
But for $80, Mike, you can go spend $30 at Granville, get a drink, get a pizza, and the crowd in there is pretty ecstatic. So $80 is just too much. It's just too much. You're asking
go get
people
some Ruby's takeout and eat it at home while you're watching the game on the TV.
Yeah. I don't like it. I think they need to fix it. I think they need to. I know they understand. It's not, you didn't understand what this fan base is and how much this means. They know. That's why they're doing this. It does work both ways. It is a double-edged sword. Well, they're going to pay the ticket anyway. They love this team. They know this team's supposed to be better. They're going to pay the $80. You've got all those seats in there for a reason. There was an image when someone designed that arena, Mike, and it was to get the sound you can have when you have every seat filled up. It could be the best atmosphere in college basketball if we want it to be. All you got to do is just cut the ticket price in half.
Someone on the YouTube chat just said Satterfield to Kentucky. And I was like, okay, there's 98% chance that this is just just somebody just saying. I still Twitter searched it. I was like, is this happening? Is there a rumor out there? Please, God, if there is, give me Satterfield. There's only the list of things that could just completely tank everyone's enthusiasm for Louisville football is short. But imagine if Scott Satterfield went to Kentucky and just started dominating the rivalry. He's just furiously throwing L's down throughout every game. Like, what the hell? This was you were on the other
Always
side.
smiling. Oh my gosh, I'd hate it.
We're like winning ACC championships and nobody cares. we win the playoff. We win a playoff game. People are like, I'm still pissed off about the Kentucky game. I can't believe we lost to Satterfield again. He's just out there like he's throwing gang signs. Like, who the hell is this guy? Get him out of here. Game Day Men's Health text line 502-414-1450. Remember, visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com today and find out how they're redefining the new era of men's wellness. Texture says, Mike, is there any reason to not be disenfranchised by the state of college basketball? It's become a feeder pro league with the European pros and the occasional G Leaguer. The in-season tournaments are dead. Realignment and the portal suck. The tournament is expanding because the president feels bad, man. Every school is pricing out actual fans. This is not even mentioning the actual play on the court. Well, I think the actual play on the court is fine. I mean, I get that on the surface these are all issues for a lot of people. The fact of the matter is the in-season ratings are better than they've been. The March Madness ratings are still sky high. The tournament's still producing $1 billion.
The sport's making more money than it ever has.
Yeah, the attendance isn't dropping precipitously.
I agree with you, though, Texter.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of people, like, I hate, so you're talking about the in-season tournaments being dead. I hate what this Players Era Championship and now these new NIL tournaments that are popping up have done to the Maui Invitational and the Battle for Atlantis. The fields are so depleted, and they're going to keep being depleted because you talk about fiscal responsibility, it's fiscally irresponsible if you're the head of a major-level basketball program to turn down $1 million to play in a tournament in Las Vegas, potentially earn more by winning it because Maui Invitational is sacred. We all agree, like Maui, like people, it's a Thanksgiving week staple. I love flipping on the Monday of Thanksgiving week. You get a great game at noon, great game in the afternoon, 2 great late night games. I've done it for years. And now this year and next year with these fields, it's going to be matchups of teams that are not likely to make the NCAA tournament. And that sucks. I hate it. But I get it. You got to make money. And the Players there is giving every team that plays $1 million and a chance to earn another $1 million by winning it all. So as bummed as I am to not be able to watch Maui, it's not like there's not going to be good basketball on TV at all hours of the day during Thanksgiving week. I mean, have you seen the Players Era lineup for this season?
Yeah, it's pretty deep.
And those games are going at all hours of the day. Like there's going to be a top 10 matchup tipping off at like 1 a.m. on one. I mean, look. So the first day, let's do the first day. Tennessee Rutgers 1 o'clock. Baylor Creighton 2 o'clock. Kansas Notre Dame 3:30. St. John's Iowa State 4:30. Houston Syracuse 6. Auburn Oregon 8. Alabama Gonzaga 9:30. Michigan San Diego State 10:30. Maryland UNLV midnight. And then the next night, the schedule's the lineup's the same. It's the same teams playing different opponents from 1 p.m. through midnight. It's outrageous.
Going back to the point, though, about us specifically, Mike, do you think there's anything to do with... Okay, so last season, granted, I wasn't in very many positions where I had to buy tickets. So there's a couple times where I wanted to get some. I wanted to get an extra one or something. And I wasn't really satisfied with the price range for where I was going to get a seat. And I would just tell myself, we lost so much money in those last 2 years, and we're still paying he who should not be named, that they've got to make back those losses. Is that maybe a thing? Because that's just what I told myself to cope last year. Are they trying to, Mike, I sat courtside for $25 2 years ago. Courtside.
I mean, I think it's a little bit about trying to make up for what you've lost. It's more about just trying to stock the war chest in this era where having a stocked war chest has never been more important. When they talk about recruiting being the lifeblood of your program. Well, now having as much money to spend on recruiting as you possibly can is the lifeblood of your program. If you don't have, if we're not spending at least $10 million on our roster, there's going to be no national title champion, at least as the climate of the sport exists in the way that it does right now, that isn't spending at least 8 figures on its roster. And that changes everything about how you run your program. It just does. And it sucks.
200,000 to someone who does nothing for us every month, though. That adds up. So I'm thinking maybe that's where this comes from too.
It doesn't help for sure. Like this, it's not a good part of this. It's a bad time to still be paying Kenny Payne, no question about it. But yeah, I mean, it's just you're going to have to live with the program not having some of the smaller things that you loved so much for maybe all of your life if you want to see the program continue to have more success moving forward. Like, we made the NCAA tournament last year in large part because we had to sacrifice some of the things that the fan base held dear, and that's going to be the case moving forward, I think, from now until things change, or if they change.
Same for football.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's the way that it is. Andrew Brandt, by the way, who has been helping us out with, does a lot of sports business stuff. He's been kind of tied to some stuff with Louisville. He just tweeted out about a half hour ago, with my NIL consulting and negotiating role with at Go Cards and a son who works in the NBA G League, I know a lot about the London Johnson signing. I'll refrain from much comment, but some of the commentary and coaches whining is, well, misguided. Get him, Brandt. Let's go, baby.
Love it.
Fire back. It's go time. Suck it, Izzo. I'm praying on Izzo's downfall at this point now. I'm rooting against it. Did you know? This was the other thing that I had. I didn't go as hard on Izzo as I thought I was going to. But did you know? No coach in college basketball over the last 25 years has had more seasons where they finished lower in the final AP poll than they were in the preseason AP poll than Tom Izzo. But he gets it going in March. Yeah, he wins like 2 games in March. Congrats.
Serial loser.
He gets you to the Sweet 16. His one national title is a fake national title. Put that asterisk by it. Serial can't get over the hump. He'll get you right to the top of the mountain, but can't get you all the way on to the mountain. Just tumbles back down once he gets about 15 feet away. Some of those losses have been bad in the Final Four, too. Texture says, speaking about London Johnson, it's so tiresome how Big Ten SEC guys hyperventilate about norms whenever one of the outside team on the outside of that bubble makes a move like this. You guys created the climate. Save it. These effing losers with their coordinated campaign and fall outrage because we signed a player outside the box of norms without their permission. Boo-hoo. Agreed.
Yep.
This is very much the, getting mad. They created this. They took the first steps. If they didn't prioritize greed, and I say they as in all the people who made the decisions that led to the SEC having 3 teams from the West Coast and the Big Ten having all these teams from the West Coast, and I guess the SEC has just Texas and Oklahoma, but if they didn't turn this into what it's become, you wouldn't have rules like this. Don't blame us for exploiting them when they become available to us. You can't do that. You have to go through us. Shut up. Texas, Kaysen and Ollie seem to sit out the sand wars. Kaysen makes sense, but is Ollie nursing an injury? I didn't see the whole video, so I can't confirm. I think Kaysen is, if he's not 100% right now, he's close to it. I think they're working him back into fives, and I think he will play in the season opener. He may not play on Friday. I think he'll play in the season opener. He may not play big-time minutes, but I think they'll have him out there on the court. I think he'll get a very large ovation when he comes out, which will be a cool moment. I think he'll be ready to go by November 3rd. Boney Dumper says, Izzo sticking up and pearl clutching for high school recruits is real cute. Joke's on him. We already tried to get high school recruits. I want Izzo to, go rip Tay Kinney, Tom Izzo. We had to go get a G League point guard because the top point guard recruits that we were going after in the 26 class went somewhere else. It's their fault. Blame the 18-year-old. Blame the 17-year-old. I just don't like Izzo. I just don't like anything about him. It's not a, get over it boomer type deal. He's just an A. He's just an a-hole. He always has been. It just now is shining more through that he's willing to speak his mind. I'm sorry that you and your staff weren't aware that this has been a thing for the last 6 weeks, and you just found out about it yesterday. That's on you. You're paid millions of dollars to be on top of stuff like this. That's nobody's fault but your own. Maybe it's why you haven't won a national title in 25 years. Texas, today was PSAT Day, which brings back memories of the Trevor ACT Experience episode. It was the most anticipated episode ever. Ratings were through the roof. What a time to be alive. Roman's too young to understand. It was a great moment. I never thought he was going to do it. I didn't think he would actually. When he texted me that he was in the parking lot getting ready to take the ACT, I was one of the most shocked I've ever been in my entire life. He did it. Got a 14. Incredible theater. Shout out to the PSAT. And Dave, teacher from Jeffersonville. Texter says, is that Tom Izzo or Bret the Hitman Hart talking?
Who's Bret the Hitman Hart?
A famous professional wrestler. He used to give his glasses to kids back in the day. It was like my dream to have Bret Hart give me his glasses if I attended a wrestling event. Had a very raspy voice. Still does. Texas Aussie guy here. What's up, Aussie guy? The question remains, was D. Mitch trying to hurt our guys during the blockout drills because he was hitting?
Getting them ready.
What if one of the guys was just like, dude, chill. Adrian Woolidge like throws hands with Donovan Mitchell. Whoa, 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 whoa. They probably would not have shown that on the Cardinal commitment. It reminds me a little bit of when we took the team to Puerto Rico in 2015-16, and Shinano Onuaku actively tried to fight. Who was the NBA player on that team? The small point guard who played for the Mavericks? Barea. They were in the handshake line, and like it was very clear that Pitino had told the Puerto Rican team that he was coaching, like, hey, be hard on these guys. You know, rough them up a little bit. We got to get them tougher for this season. And like, they're kind of beating the hell out of each other during the game. And then in the handshake line, Shinano Onuaku was like, I don't care if you play for the Mavs. Like, you're 5'8". You're going to try to step to me. I'm going to beat you up. And it got very dicey very quickly. I was like, all right, Rick, let's tone it down a little bit here. We don't need this to be an international. Well, I guess it's not international. We don't need this to be a national incident that makes big-time national news. It was a rough moment, but I respected Shinano for holding his own. Texas Mike, this controversy is an overreaction. If this kid was named Londonovich Johnsonovich and averaged the same stats in the Adriatic League, no one would care, and it would be deemed as an intriguing depth ad. This is 100% accurate, by the way. It's like in the NBA when role players who are American are deemed as mid, but those same role players who are European are deemed as nice pieces. I also like the uproar about his age, as if there are no 21-year-olds in college. It's 100%. Look at Illinois' projected starting roster for this year. You've got, Brad Underwood joking about him being like the Greek, like a mob boss in AI images because all of their starting five players end with an itch. And nobody cares about that. They're not ruining college basketball. But when London Johnson, who didn't finish high school to go chase his professional basketball dream, wants to come back and play college basketball at 21. Oh, the humanity. Oh, what are we doing here? How do we reach these kids? Will someone think about the 17-year-old Brads from middle of Indiana that dream about playing college basketball at places like Louisville? What about Tyler? What about Tyler? London stealing his spot. But yeah, if Londonovich Johnsonovich was trying to steal his spot, well, it's great to see these Europeans get a chance to experience the American dream. They're such cerebral players.
They're so versatile.
They're students of the game. Make of that what you will. But it's 100% accurate. Tom Izzo doesn't give a damn if that's, Giuseppe from Italy coming over and filling that role. But if it's London Johnson, G League Ignite for the last 2 years, ew, ugh, gross. What's happened to the sport I love? Texas, what happened with the G League big that U of L was recruiting that apparently would be eligible for this season? It's another guy who is mulling over a college decision. He's got six. What's the Amir? I can't remember his name now. Amar something was with the Knicks organization, and he's got like a Ahmed. Is that right?
Yeah, Ahmed.
Ahmed Amari. Is that
Abdullah? I thought something like that.
Abdullah Ahmed. He has a list of 6 schools, and they are Louisville, UCLA, BYU, Houston, and Mississippi State. Oh, Kelvin Sampson. Wrecking the sport that we all love. Kelvin Sampson.
If they would have done it first, they wouldn't have said a word about it.
I mean, Kelvin Sampson is universally recognized as, like, at this point, all that's good about college basketball. Maybe the best active coach. He's winning 30 games every year at a program that had no history for the 30 years that preceded him, and he does things the right way, builds the roster the right way. All that he got in trouble for at Indiana was sending text messages after midnight. Oh, but now he's recruiting a G League center who's been in the G League for the past 2 years. What an absolute moral cluster. Mick Cronin, have no respect for the game. Get over yourselves. Absurd. Danny Hurley, take your passive-aggressive emoji tweets out of here, too. Get out of my face. Hour number 3 is up next. We got one thing to talk about that we have not gotten a chance to discuss just yet. We'll do that at the top of the hour, I guess the top of the show hour. And we'll have more from you guys on the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. And then we'll make some predictions on the night ahead in sports. Some good stuff going on. More NBA action. We'll get to it after the break. It's the Mike Rutherford Show here on 1450 The Big X. Here we go.
I'll build your dreams with these two hands. We'll hang some memories.
Roman, are you familiar with All for One?
Faintly.
Besides this song?
No.
Same. I don't know if they had any other one. I just remember, so this song was super popular. And then I don't remember which came first. The country musician John Michael Montgomery, who for a very brief period in the mid-'90s had a chokehold on the country, did this song as well. And both very, very, very good. Same lyrics, just different kind of vibes. But the best part about All for One, okay, do you have access to a computer or your phone right now?
Yes.
I want you to just Google All for One and then look at the images of the group and tell me what stands out.
It looks like a buddy of mine and me and a buddy of yours and you.
So there's one guy in the group. I mean, you hear that you heard the audio right there. It sounds like all right,
me, you, Dan, and Abelson or something.
I mean, it's like it's Boys to Men, classic R&B. You're thinking it's four black guys, and then you Google the group. There's two very black guys. One guy that kind of looks like there's something going on there. Maybe a little bit of Hispanic guy, and then there's a straight white nerd, glasses, gelled hair. Looks like he's going to Miami of Ohio to study physiology. Like that look, it's the All for One music video. Like when I first figured this out, I have never been more shocked. I spent the first 10 years of my life thinking that All for One was just like,
there's no way these guys hang out like this.
Zero chance. No way. But now, I mean, there's some pictures you can see of them hanging out now, and they're doing photo shoots. But just could not have been more surprised when they tried to kind of dress him up as like the other guys, and it just didn't work. It's like the plot of a bad teen movie where the cool kids had to become friends with like one of the losers, and they tried to dress him up, and it just didn't work.
It's like these three guys went and found this kid for the school project.
Exactly. I swear by the moon and the stars in the sky. Which version of I Swear came first? Now I've got to figure this out before we continue. I can't continue with the show. The John Michael Montgomery one came first, 1993. And then the All for One came in 1994. Props to All for One for capitalizing on John Michael Montgomery there. Okay, the picture you just sent me, this is the one. He's doing the grade school picture day pose in the middle of his buddies. The other guy's clearly Hispanic. He's not just straight white. And then, like I said, the two guys, clearly black. But he looks like he's a tech nerd from the mid-'90s. And he's got that big baritone voice doing I Swear. Incredible.
How old were they when they got together?
I mean, we could spend the last hour of the show just talking about All for One, but that's for July. How did
they meet?
Put a pin in this. We're coming back to All for One once we get to the summer. Make a note, October 22nd, put up a little star by that. We'll come back to it in about 8 months when we got nothing to talk about. But unfortunately, for All for One, we do have to talk a little sports here. We got some other things to move on to, although I've completely now forgotten what I just got this email. This is the weirdest award. There are weird awards. We made fun of the Comeback Player of the Year award last year. I think some of the preseason coaching awards make no sense. I read this press release during the break, and it includes Louisville players, so I wanted to talk about it. But I still don't really get what's happening here. So there's an award called the Pony Express Award, which has announced its midseason watch list. It's a regular season award that is honoring the best tandem in college football, regardless of positions.
It's not a tandem, then.
That's where my mind immediately went to as well. Craig James and Eric Dickerson, former teammates at SMU and proud members of various halls of fame from high school to the NFL, created the award to celebrate selflessness, collaboration, and true team excellence. I guess they deemed themselves fantastic teammates back in the day. So, the award is described, whether it's a QB and a wide receiver with undeniable chemistry, two offensive linemen paving the way downfield, or a linebacker safety combo relentlessly anchoring the defense, or other duo combinations.
Can it be a long snapper and a punter?
It could be anybody. It could be a long snapper and a wide receiver, apparently. The award looks for tandems who embody the spirit of the Pony Express Award. James and Dickerson's shared faith, here we go, as brothers in Christ has been the foundation of their near 50-year relationship. I have no idea what they're trying to identify.
They're just making awards for anything now, Mike.
It's basically just like any players. So we have 3 nominees on this list. D'Angelo Hutchinson and TJ Quinn and Clev Lubin. So a DB, a linebacker, and a defensive lineman. Iowa State's got 2 running backs here. Indiana's got like 17 different players. How are they figuring out who's the better teammate? I have no idea what this award is celebrating. I've got no idea what they're trying to do or how they just decided that these 3 guys are better teammates than any. Like, what is Chris Bell doing that's not making him a good teammate to these other guys? He's putting up pretty big numbers. What are we doing?
Skinner's a great teammate.
I mean, they're like Ole
He
Miss
shares every play.
Ole Miss has their quarterback and no wide receivers there. I don't know how this works at all. But congratulations to D'Angelo Hutchinson, TJ Quinn, and Clev Lubin for being. It's shocking that somebody, an award spearheaded by Craig James and Eric Dickerson, might not make a ton of sense. Shocking that this is happening. But, yeah.
Eric Dickerson, he's the Oh no, okay.
Played running back for the Colts for a long time, and the Rams. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think set the rookie rushing record back in the day, and then had
he's the guy that wore the goggles.
Yeah, he was, and it had the all-time rushing record. He still holds the single season all-time rushing record, over 2,000 yards. He was a beast, but I wouldn't trust him to come up with an award that made a ton of sense. And Craig James was on TV for a long time and was a D-bag. Ended up got his son was a walk-on, and I think was the guy who basically got Mike Leach fired at Texas Tech because he had this story about Mike Leach locking him in a closet or something along those lines. Craig James was a weirdo. But once again, congratulations to the 3 players that we have that are on this award list. A couple other things that are in the inbox here. Congratulations to Colin Lacey. He's been named to I didn't even know this award existed. There's too many awards in college football. I'm just going to say it. He's been named to the Jet Award Midseason Watch List. Celebrating its 15th year, the Jet Award continues to honor the electrifying talents of players who excel on punt and kickoff returns. I mean, he should be the front runner, right?
Yeah. Give it to him already.
Give him the award. He's got it. He's the Jet Award winner. I would love to have a Jet Award champion trophy or winner trophy. That's got to be a cool trophy. Jeff Brom has been named to the Dodd Trophy midseason watch list for the best coach in college football. And then they've officially announced that ACC Huddle is coming to U of L this weekend. Now, if you're looking for how this is going to work, the Huddle, which is their kind of Saturday morning pregame show, it's going to air live from the Alley, which is right across from L&N Stadium from 10 a.m. to noon. You can show up, hang out behind them, talk shop, all for free. Jeff Brom's going to be there. He'll make a live appearance at 10:15 to preview the matchup against Boston College. They'll have breakfast there for fans while supplies last, which means they'll have like 3 egg sandwiches, right? If the supplies last, people listening from U of L are so mad right now. Look, you had to have more hats, guys. You needed more hats. We needed more tumblers. I'm not going to trust you to have enough breakfast here. They'll have breakfast there and a limited edition T-shirt, 15 of them. Once again, I'm joking. People are mad about the hats still. They don't forget about the straw hats. There's free parking in the Soleil lots beginning at 9 a.m. The Alley will also open at 9 a.m. So free park there, show up, get some breakfast, grab a free T-shirt, watch Jeff Brom talk to the ACC Huddle crew at 10:15, and the show will wrap up at 12. They will need to clear the lots if you're parking in that Soleil lot by 12:30 to prepare for game day traffic. So
who's the crew?
It's Taylor Tannenbaum, Jimbo Fisher, Eric McLean.
I hate him, Mike.
You hate Eric McLean?
That's the only reason I asked. I figured he was going to be a part of the Huddle. I don't like Eric McLean, Mike.
He's boys with your State of Louisville guys.
Is he?
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't be saying that then.
They love. I think they're doing some stuff with them.
Fully about his takes, though. It feels like he's never really wanting to be fully positive about Louisville. I feel like he's always like picking the wrong games on the ACC games as well.
Oh, boy.
I feel like every time I'm watching him, I'm disagreeing with what he's saying about these ACC teams.
It's like, Roman, I need you to call Eric McLean right now. I got him scheduled to come on at 4:45.
They're going to have me interview.
He's actually listening right now. He's waiting to come on the Call Your Law Firm hotline. He's definitely not coming on the show now. I can tell you that much. I didn't realize you had this strong of a feeling about Eric McLean.
I've been waiting to bring it up to you.
You hate EMAC.
His takes.
All
Don't know anything about him personally or his even career, really. Takes, though, every time I cut him on, I don't like him.
Everyone I know, I mean, I love Taylor Tannenbaum. I've been on with her on ACCPM a number of times. She's awesome. Obviously, I just know Jimbo Fisher from his coaching. I don't really know EMAC that well outside of just social media interaction.
He was high on Clemson at the beginning of the year.
Well, everybody was high on Clemson at the beginning of the year besides your boy.
True.
He's one of the many people that just needed to be listening to this show the entire summer. Producer Keith's still apologizing to me, by the way. Just won't stop apologizing. As he should. He was wrong. Everybody was wrong, though. The MacGuffin is on the line this weekend, by the way, when Louisville hosts Boston College. We are after beating Miami last week. The MacGuffin, by the way, if you didn't listen to our show last week, we were talking about this. It's the theoretical, the mythical college football championship belt. Started with the very first game in college football between Rutgers and New Jersey Institute of Technology or whatever it was. And basically, if you beat that team, that's the only way that you can get the MacGuffin championship. We had never won it before. We're wearing the belt right now. We're the 91st different CFB team to hold the MacGuffin. It's the first time since 1994 that multiple teams became first-time MacGuffin title holders. We held it this year. USF took it on earlier this season. Colorado State, Utah, and New Mexico both became first-time championship holders in 1994. Boston College, though, they're one of now just 8 Power 4 teams that have never held the MacGuffin. Like us, their last chance was in 2017 against Clemson. Hopefully not like us. They won't be able to get over the hump and take the MacGuffin from us this weekend. But it's our first title defense, Roman.
Time to retain it, Mike.
We've held it for 7 consecutive days. It's time to hold on to it. Let's go. Game Day Men's Health text line 502-414-1450. Before we go, are you excited? We had a question about this earlier. How excited are you for the debut of the new ESPN NBA coverage tonight? Including the post-game show.
I'm weary of it.
Why? You don't think it's going to be as good as it used to be?
I just feel like they typically are prone to messing things up a little bit. But they've said that they're going to be improving some stuff, so we're going to see.
I mean, just like apparently the powers that be from TNT, they're still producing the show. So I would assume, I mean, nobody wants them to change it, right?
They're gonna make them censor stuff. They're not going to be able to cut up. I really don't think ESPN is going to let anybody cut up like that.
But like, if you're ESPN, the reason you went out and you got Ernie and Charles and Shaq and Kenny is because they were wildly popular in their old form, right? It seems like a safe way. I know that they're not as loose as the TNT folks, but why not just say, hey, just go out and do what made you guys popular in the first place. Keep it the same. Nobody wants this to change. It's like the NCAA tournament. Everyone agrees this is one of those few things in sports that doesn't need any sort of altering. So, of course, you're probably right. They're going to screw it up. It's going to look differently. It's going to be like Wayne's World the first time that they were aired by a sponsor. Like, new song, feels different. It's a mock setup that isn't actually the set that they used to be on. They're going to screw it up. But I want to see it. I'm excited to watch tonight. You have nothing else to say.
I don't trust it's going to be good. I think they're going to screw it up.
Okay. Texter says, PRTG here. Sorry for the non-reference. I thought Roman's reference to Deuce Adams would be comparable enough to go Dracula's Deuce. It's weird, though. Also, this is hilarious if it hasn't already been shared. It's the image of the guy, the UK fan that had the sign, the poster that said, like, I want to take a selfie with Michael Irvin. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
So he's rocking the UK, the Wildcat logo that looks like two birds having missionary sex with sunglasses on his head. It's a ridiculous combination. He looks like a loser. Michael Irvin probably slipped him some cocaine. They did it together. I'm throwing that out there. But yeah, he was very excited to see Michael Irvin in his UK shirt. I'm sure both those guys came home sad Friday night. That's all that I care about. You lost. Your team lost. The team you hate won. Suck it, both of you. Texas, I'm with Roman. Purdue is overrated.
They are.
Why
I tweet about it.
Why is? Oh, you did.
I did.
What'd you say?
So they're not finishing top 5 this season.
Woo!
And they're not getting out of the Sweet 16.
Woo! That's a hot take.
Riddler's showing us some love as well.
Love it. He says, why is everyone acting like they were 32-4 last year? The team went 24-12, and what did they bring in to crown them the number one team in the country? So there's a part of me. I don't have them as the number one team in the country. I do think they're going to be good. But there's a part of me that very much wonders if we're going to see a similar thing with college basketball as we saw with college football. Everyone came into this season with a 2005 mentality of the teams that were good but not great last season but brought back the bulk of their players. Well, they're just going to naturally make that leap from good to elite of the elite. Clemson, I don't care that they got blown out by Georgia and lost to South Carolina and hammered by Louisville. They made the playoff, and they brought back their best receivers and their best linemen and their best quarterback. So certainly they're going to be terrific. It doesn't work that way anymore. Roster retention is important. It's not the only thing that's important. If you were a 24-12 team like Purdue last year, and you didn't go out and get a very meaningful impact newcomer, you're probably going to be better bringing back Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Wren and the rest of your
Fletcher Lawyer.
Yeah, most of your production from the season before. But that's probably not enough of a sweeping change, at least if we're following the college football model, to make that jump from very good to top-tier national title contender.
It feels like they're doing what they did with Clemson last year in football, Mike, or this year, I mean.
That's what I just said.
And I don't understand. I was reading over on the roster here.
You very clearly zoned out there.
A couple guys that they were expecting to make big jumps that just aren't that good, in my opinion. I don't think C.J. Cox is going to be able to make that big of a difference maker from how good you were offensively last year. The Antoine West kid, I don't think he's going to be that big of a difference maker. And just defensively overall, are you expecting to be better defensively? That doesn't make sense.
They had the worst two-point defense in the Big Ten last year.
Because Trey Kaufman-Wren isn't good defensively.
Mm-hmm. And they were overly reliant on Zach Edey for the 3 years before that, and they lost him, and they're like, we'll still be good. And they had no rim protector whatsoever. The only meaningful impact newcomer is the kid from South Dakota State, Oscar Clough, who scored a bunch of points at South Dakota. I do think he'll help them. But scoring wasn't really their issue last season. Like they will score. They'll score a ton of points. But everybody is just kind of throwing out there, if they can just get good at defense, then they should be the clear favorite. That's a pretty big if. Why are they going to be markedly better defensively this year than they were last year? I'm with you. I still think that they will be a top 5 team. I'm against you on that. But I'm with you on not labeling them as the NCAA championship favorite. They're not my preseason pick to win it all.
Shouldn't be. I don't understand why I keep seeing them there.
Sweet 16 or exit, though, might be against you there.
Mm-mm.
I like it, though. I love the take. It's a strong take. Texas says, we've already had a Brom clunker. It was Virginia. Now we just go. The clunker's over. Clunker's done. It's in the rear view. He also said, I'm going to say this every day this week. We're going to speak it into existence. We're going to manifest this. The clunker happened. You know what I think needs to happen, though, for the clunker to be legitimately Virginia? We need Virginia to start losing a couple games. We need to, it makes us look.
If they win out.
Exactly. I mean, you can't have a clunker against a top 10, 11-1 team. It makes us look worse if Virginia starts losing some games. But also, that's the clunker. They went 7-5. They weren't a good football team. We completely outplayed them when we lost. We also kind of need them to lose at some point, too, because we want to make the conference championship game, and they're currently undefeated. I'm terrified that it's too ACC for it not to happen, that Virginia has an ACC loss, or a loss to an ACC team, but is still undefeated in the ACC and gets to play the conference championship game, while more deserving, better teams are left home. It just feels like it's too on brand for this conference. Did you see what Narduzzi said today, by the way?
Nope.
So Pat Narduzzi I get conference loyalty, but he took things a step further than, Pitt's having a little bit of success. He's feeling himself a little bit again. And he goes, I've said this for 10 years now. Top to bottom, the ACC is the best conference in the country. Nobody comes close to the depth that this league has on a week-in, week-out basis.
I'm not mad at this.
I'm not mad at it.
More people need to be saying this.
I mean, it's very clearly not true. Can we Boston College just got beat at home by UConn last week by 15.
Need Cal to come out and say this.
Cal's coach?
Yeah.
What's Cal's coach's name? Who is Cal's football coach?
Oh, it's
Justin Wilcox. Yeah, step up. Help us out a little bit. He's like, I know other conferences. The Pac-12, their best team during my time there would have lost to our worst team this season. Narduzzi's just all in. Is Narduzzi, does he think Pitt can still make the playoff? Is he politicking a little bit? I don't know. Texas, I'm not worried about this week at all. But the CW game terrifies me. Did you see Teresa on Twitter chirping at me yesterday?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it as I was walking in my car. I thought I was seeing things. She's a Miami fan. And she's responding to my 2-day-old tweet about Louisville, Virginia Tech getting the CW treatment. And she goes, poverty programs play on the CW. Only poverty programs play on the CW. And so I look at her profile. I'm like, what's this, Teresa? And all of her tweets are about Miami. And she's just ripping. She's like, fraud alert about Florida State, just ripping other programs. And I was like, I mean, you can't say this less than a week after your team lost to my team on your home field. And then to make matters worse, I looked it up before I left the parking lot. Miami's played on the CW 3 times over the last 3 years, including last month against South Florida. You've been on the CW more than we've been on the CW, and more recently than we've been on the CW. So I was like, all right, I'm going to let the followers pick which response to go with. 1, hey, we just beat you on your home field. Shut up. 2, hey, you've been on the CW more than we've been on the CW, and you played on the CW like 3 weeks ago. Shut up. People were like, why not go with both? Also, C. Just, you suck. Teresa. And then she doubled down.
She did. That surprised me.
She's like, my program only plays primetime game. I'm like, I literally just told you that you don't. People, man. People. Texas, if you go back and read last season's CC Stanford game preview, it's frightening stuff. Here's the most concerning part, in my opinion. Louisville has played one solid 4-quarter game this season. The other 5 games, not so much. If they put up a performance more in line with the first 5 games and BC brings their A- game, I have concern. Here's the deal. I was about to say something. I'm going to check myself. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. You know why? Because I'm taking this game super serious. Super serious. Look at me right now. Super serious about this game. BC can beat us. They're really good. If we don't play very well in this game, if we're not super focused, we will lose this game. I will maintain this focus for the next 2 days. Roman, you don't have to do that.
Mike, they haven't even come close, Mike. Come on. Well, I guess Michigan State. That's close on the road.
Michigan State sucks.
Boston College isn't beating anybody on the road.
They could beat us, though. They could beat us. I fully believe that. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me to give you reasons. Just know that I, Mike Rutherford, am taking this game very seriously. And I'm not saying whatsoever that we could play a C- game and still probably beat this team by double figures. Has not crossed my mind. I'm terrified. Texas says, Mike, those other 2 games were also on the road and this one's at home. That has to mean something. No. Didn't matter that the 3 Brom clunkers were on the road, or that they were all coming off of bye weeks, or that they all came at a time when we had a ranked team coming up the week after. This is still a potential clunker. I will never take a game after a big-time win for granted again. I swore off it last year. I don't go back on promises. I don't go back on swears. I'm a man of my word. We could lose this game, guys. Roman's confidence level is only 9.6. That basically means we're like a 2-point favorite. Texas says, Juju question. I own too many home field apparel shirts. My newest one was worn for the first time to the Virginia game. I know, I'm sorry. I've already retired it for football season because I refuse to be the cause of another loss. However, is it safe to wear for the Kansas exhibition even though it's the night before a possible clunker? This is a fair question.
What color is the shirt?
I think it's fair. I think that the attire effect, there's a different world for basketball and football. Sometimes they can coexist, but for the most part, if you have a shirt that's bad luck in football, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be bad luck for basketball, and vice versa. If it's great luck for football, might not be the best for basketball. I think you're good to wear the home field shirt on Friday night for the basketball game. If we lose, burn it. Done. It's out. Got to get rid of it.
Already deserves burning, if you ask me.
Really?
Yes.
Just for the one performance?
Yes.
I think that's. I mean, here, what you would do if you really like the shirt. I mean, wear it for the Bucknell exhibition. Get that safe win under your pocket.
Save it for UK.
Yeah. Now you're getting frisky. Let's take a break. When we come back, 5 o'clock hour is up. We'll take more texts from you guys. We'll run through the text line, and then we'll make some predictions for the night ahead in sports. And then we'll hand things off to the ticket punchers from 5:30 to 6. This is the Mike Rutherford Show, the Wednesday edition, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio.
It's kickoff time for Louisville's newest
Mechanical and Nexus Plus, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Reminder, if you've been hurt in an accident or on the job, call our guy, Tony Collier, over at the Collier Law Firm. You know, some of the injury lawyers in this quote-unquote area, they're not from here. Others don't even live here currently. They're running ads here in the city. They're putting boards up, but they're actually down there in Florida, just living the beach life. Tony Collier and the crew, die-hard Louisvillians. They're born and raised in this area. They're U of L fans. Tony's a season ticket holder for both basketball and football. They know what this city is about, and they know what the people of the city are about, which is why they want to do what's best for the people and keep their attorney fees as low as possible. They started just 25% over at the Collier Law Firm, a big firm that you see all over the place. You know, they're going to make you sign a contract that's going to put 40, 45, 50% of your recovery money back in their pocket. At the Collier Law Firm, they got your back, not your wallet. Give them a call at 502-736-8141. You can also visit them online at collierlawfirm.com, COLYER lawfirm.com. Hurt in an accident, hurt on the job, Collier Law Firm. Decent night ahead in sports. We got a solid lineup on the NBA, the first real full slate of the season. Donovan Mitchell and the Cleveland Cavs, they get their season going on at 7 o'clock on ESPN against the team that is widely believed to be the biggest challenger in the East, the New York Knicks. And then, lots of other games. What's the second game on ESPN tonight? It's Spurs Mavs, Cooper Flag, Victor Wembanyama. That's the big show here. We'll see how that goes. We've also got college football tonight. A couple of games on the docket in CUSA. Middle Tennessee, 1-5, 0-2 on the road, taking on Delaware, 3-3, 1-2 in CUSA. Delaware's a 9.5-point favorite. And then over on CBS Sports Network at 9 o'clock, Ryan Beard, former U of L assistant and Missouri State head coach, is on the road taking on New Mexico State. The Bears, that's Missouri State, are a 1.5-point road favorite. CUSA wins that.
State in that one.
I like Missouri State in that one. You're about to find out why. Coming up in about 20 minutes. We'll make some more other picks for the big games ahead in the world of sports. But before we do that, back to the text line, 502-414-1450. Game Day Men's Health text line has been rocking and rolling all day. If you want to have your thoughts heard on the radio, you got about 20 minutes left to make that happen. Let's get to it. Texter says, NCAA hoops should get rid of all eligibility requirements. I've said it before. It would be a better pro system than the NBA. Given how grassroots and local the fan bases are, how many teams there are that cover every nook and corner of the country versus the NBA, it's much closer to how European soccer is rather than the franchise monopoly system in U.S. pro sports.
That last part's true, but I don't know if I just don't think it would work.
I don't either. I love the idea, but I'm with you. I don't think that it can work over here the same way that it works with soccer in Europe, especially when it's such a culture shock.
Yeah, the conferences here are just way too different from each other.
And this basic system has been in place for over a century here. It would be a shock to the core to just completely unravel it, although there's been a lot of shock to the cores the last 3 years or so. Texture says, we need to see non-vanilla Jeff on Saturday. We showed everything last week at Miami and beat their bleep. No need to hold back against BC. Give me all the fake field goals and 3 quarterback sets. I want to make Bill O'Brien cry. It's time to beat the clunker allegations, boys. I'm not going to go that far.
We shouldn't need that stuff to beat this BC team.
Have you seen, I don't know if it's because we're playing BC this weekend, but I keep getting tagged by these aggregating accounts that are trying, these the accounts that just will throw highlights out there.
What are they saying?
They keep showing the clip of us faking the kneel down before halftime of the 2023 Boston College game, where we ran that cool trick play. We acted like we were about to take a knee, and then we handed it off to Jawar, and he almost scored a touchdown. We ended up getting 6. And people are like, "Oh, you needed this to beat Boston College," and I mean, it was a solid amount of like UK fans and ACC fans, and people be like, "This is classless" and whatever. But the one response that I didn't get, that was the most ridiculous, was somebody who was like, "They beat one good team, and now they're out there trying to run up the score to get good points from the CFP." I'm like, "Do you think we've played a game since last weekend? When do you think this game took place?" We beat Miami last Friday. You think we had a Friday, Monday turnaround? And now they're trying to run up the score and poor Boston College here because they beat Miami. I'm like, this game was 2 years ago. But the clip just keeps getting shared. I don't know why. Texas, we can send the Jaguars over to stink up London during a shutdown, but we can't have a marquee women's basketball game in Germany.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Classic set. I don't really understand it either. I'm sure there's a lot. Well, I'm actually not sure that there's a logical explanation. I'm sure there's an explanation.
Is it maybe because they're students, like the schools are responsible for them still or something, maybe?
I just don't know. I don't get it. Texas Mike, are we sure that it's not Pro Guard you? That's a good text. Texas, is it possible in this NIL and transfer era that it just takes Brom 4 or 5 games to figure out teams and have the players gel?
Probably. But
this is a good thought.
It's too many games in this day and age. Especially when you got bye games to start with. Which I get it, that goes both ways. You can't see everything you need to learn in bye games all the time, but that's half your season, Mike. You can't spend half your season learning.
No. And this is what terrifies me about the schedules that we have coming up. If Georgia stays on the schedule and if A&M stays on the schedule, in each of the first 3 years here, we've had some slow starts. You know, we're behind by a healthy amount against a whatever Georgia Tech team in week 1, his very first game. We barely beat a bad Indiana team in, I think, week 3. Last year, we started a little bit slow, and we got burned in the first half games that we played against good teams in Notre Dame and SMU. And this year, we definitely started slow, and it feels like we're hitting our stride now. You can't, we've been fortunate enough to have backloaded schedules the last couple of years. That ain't not always going to be the case. We don't get to pick what ACC teams we play. We may get a really good, like, whoever we play next year. I don't know. We may get a really good, like, Miami team in September next year. You just don't know. So it would make sense. I mean, we talked about the offensive line. The last 2 years, they've mixed and matched for the first 5 weeks and haven't been able to find the right combination of guys or the right combination of guys in the right positions. And then at the midway point, they found it out last year. The offensive line was much better in the second half. It feels like they figured it out again this year. If you're still doing that same type of thing next year, Georgia may beat you by 40.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, we got to get – it's been fine for the last couple of seasons, but we got to get that figured out a little bit earlier. But it may be just having so many new faces. Texas, Jeff Walsh said it today. We're just playing within the rules. I believe his comments insinuated that they were also looking at professional players in Europe. We've got like 4 players from Europe on the team right now.
Keep going.
Yeah, I mean, he has very much dipped into the European market over the last 3 years. I think we have four women from Europe on this year's team.
Mike, I talked about this last summer. I don't know if you remember me bringing it up. The young kids are only getting worse, Mike. Go get the pros that know how to move the ball and get up and down the floor and no spacing and no sets. The AAU circuit, the high school ranks of basketball, I just feel like the way that the game's addressed, the way that the game is taught, has changed massively in the last handful of years. Go get the guys that really know how to play versus guys you got to teach how to play.
I agree. I think we're seeing it across the board. Those rosters are the ones that have been the most competitive.
Unless it's a Michael Brown, Nate Ament type.
Exactly. Yeah, there are exceptions.
Bring those in.
Cooper Flagg was pretty good last year for Duke. They had a good season.
Zion Williamson comes your way. You go get that.
Yeah. Texas says, did you see Marquette legend Cam Jones was involved in a police chase? So I did. Someone who knows way more about this, I've got a friend who's a lawyer in Indiana.
Cam legend, like, wasn't he on the team last year?
Yeah. And then he's on the Pacers now. And he got arrested. Someone who is a lawyer in that area, he looked at it and he was like, I'm telling you right now, like, this wasn't a police chase. Like, I'm looking at where it looks like it on the write-up because of the way that the streets, I know exactly what happened. He got pulled over. He had to veer into a different street, and the write-up makes it look like it was like a 4-block chase. In reality, it's just like a little cut-through.
First spot he could pull over type of thing?
Yeah, exactly. And sure enough, like a couple of days later, they put out a statement saying, like, it was basically a speeding ticket that he got pulled over for. That got blown up for some crazy reasons, like shocking. Some of the police protocol is not up to snuff in that area.
He didn't get, like, put in handcuffs, did he?
I don't think so. But the report made it look like he did. Like, he was evading, and he was going too fast. He was definitely speeding, but that's all he was doing. Texas says, Jeff Brom is 1,000% a Louisville guy, born and raised. Marcus Freeman's only been a Notre Dame guy since 2021. That's right. What was that the only time that he's been on the staff? For some reason, I thought he was there longer as the assistant. He was so beloved before he got the head coaching job. I kind of assumed that he'd been there longer than he actually
Producer
had.
Keith told me he's just waiting for Coach Day to get fired up there at Ohio State, and that's the job he really wants.
Well, he played there, so he's a Dayton boy. But yeah, I thought he'd been there for a lot longer. 2021, you're right. He was the DC linebacker coach for 1 year. And when they announced that he was the head coach, the players were like sobbing and like going nuts. I assumed that he'd been there for like 7 years. But no, you're right. Texture says, I'm more concerned with the CW curse than the Brom letdown game curse this weekend, to be honest. Texture says, how many rowbacks do you have? Is this the red new? I love the row. I mean, I love athleisure. It's all I wear now.
The one you've got on right now, I wouldn't mind having one of those. The
It's
black
out there.
one?
The black one sold out. That's what I tried to buy.
All black with the Louisville logo
Yeah,
right there?
I wanted it for
That'd
my
be cool.
birthday. I had to settle for the red one. I think I've got like 5 now at this point. Just different colors. It's an easy gift. It's an easy ask. Text it, if your mid-major erection leads to a legitimate fandom, please see a doctor. That's a good text. Dugan also texted me. He's like, I'm dying laughing. I don't remember this happening at all. He's like, I know we probably had more stringent plans in place because they had Johnny Renshaw employed at that point in time. I mean, yeah, Renshaw was like, there are clips on YouTube, Duke, maybe you want to clean this up, where Renshaw was doing his radio show on the CW. I mean, he's using just straight up like slurs, like on air, not like the big one, but like stuff that you very much cannot say in 2025. One of those popped up on my YouTube one time, and I was like, he was saying this on the radio and TV. This is outrageous. We've never been that bad. Texas, I've been worried in some form for every game this year. I'm not worried about BC at all. We're going to kick their ass. I don't like this mentality.
No, this is
too much.
Luckily, though, like, I shouldn't even say this, but you should be able to shoot your foot against BC and still win.
I disagree with both of you guys. This is a very, very serious opponent in a very serious spot. I'm not overlooking Boston College. If anyone tells you that I am, they're lying. Could not. They're trying to rage bait.
You've already taken the spread on your phone already.
No. I don't even know what the spread is.
Take us minus 30.
I'm assuming we're like a 4.5 point favorite. That's what I would set the line at. Terrified. Rashawn texted in. Why is it when Roman thinks about arguing with someone on the radio and wants to curse, he immediately thinks about Rashawn?
Listen, it's not about directing those words towards you, Rashawn. It's about the passion behind those opinions that get brought up on our show. We don't really get to address those kind of things on the other shows because it's a lot of variety of sports on top of a lot of NBA history and debates that we get into. It's a debate type of show. So when you're debating on things you get passionate about, the full vocabulary wants to start coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Not at Rashawn, just he brings up those topics and gets me going. And now I have opinions on players that we're discussing that typically involve a little bit of vulgar vocabulary.
He's imagining calling you an MF-er, Roman, or Rashawn. That's what he's thinking about. That's the word that he's thinking about in his head. What's the story? There's a story about Rashawn that Patrick Ryan's told on the air. He was hosting the weekend show with somebody else, and they got so mad at each other that one of them locked Rashawn in like the old studio in Jeffersonville, and he'd like climb out a window to get out.
He used to do a show, a U of L UK show. Like
That's what it was.
They had a U of L host,
Yeah.
and he was the U of L co-host, and they had a UK host on it, and it was literally them arguing every day.
And it was like one day it got very serious.
Yeah.
Beyond like radio back and forth. And apparently the other guy locked Rashawn
And left, I think.
And left in the old studio
While they were live.
It's a classic radio story. Texter says, the first-time texter from Tennessee, your Tom Izzo is a mix between Smeagol and Jennifer Coolidge. They both have kind of squishy faces, so that works. That's just how I talk. There it is. Text says, Boozer is a less explosive Banchero. Do you agree with this?
I don't know. I mean, I feel, yeah, I got to remember what Banchero was at Duke.
I think he's more polished than Paolo was at that point in time. You're right, though. It's hard to remember exactly what they look like.
Because Banchero's also gained like 30 pounds.
He's such a different player now, as he should be. He's getting older. He's in the NBA.
Yeah, I'd say that a little bit more polished. I think he's got.
He's going to be good.
He seems like just a little bit better of an interior presence, offensively.
I agree with that.
Banchero, also because Banchero did a lot of stuff with the ball in his hands from the perimeter at Duke, which I don't think Boozer's going to do as much of. But it feels like if you get Boozer the ball in the paint, it's not at a double team; it's going to be a bucket.
I'm also basing this off of one exhibition game against UCF.
Yeah.
Texas TickPick has $30 tickets for the Kansas exhibition. Oh, that's good. Okay, that's better. Texas, I got Cards Pass, and it's supposed to give us the best available seats. They put us in the upper end zone. What the hell? There are much better seats on the sides. Sorry. Texas, are there any worry that Duke Watson has only played in 4 games? Any worry about rumors of wanting more NIL, or is he really injured?
I mean, he was really limping.
He was. We'll find out more Thursday night. Texas, why are we complaining about ticket prices? There are tickets available for $25, which include fees on StubHub for the Kansas game. The ticket prices for all home games last year plummeted 2 to 3 days before the game. It's going to be no different this year. Very next text. Who is Landon Johnson? London. Learn the name. Love it. Texas, just FYI, your mic is coming across pretty distorted and loud, sometimes hard to listen to. I've heard somebody on YouTube was saying this too. Listening on my iPhone on the YouTube channel, just thought you want to know. I'm a fan and I love your show. First time texter as well.
Cowboy.
Look at that. Perfectly timed. People were saying that on the YouTube stream. I don't know if it's just on YouTube or if it's on the actual shows, but nobody's complained about it outside of YouTube.
Get it looked at.
On YouTube, they also say, I feel like EMAC is always very complimentary of Louisville. EMAC loves him some Louisville. Roman must be confusing his white guys again.
What I heard him say talking about Louisville, it was a few weeks ago, more in the beginning of the season. He had something like 2 weeks ago where he was talking about Pitt. I didn't agree with it. And then one other thing, I think it was a Clemson take. I didn't agree with at all. He's had a few Clemson takes this year up until they finally really started looking bad. He kind of seemed like he got level-headed with his Clemson takes, but I feel like every once in a while I'm listening to him, Mike, and he's saying something about an ACC team I don't agree
You
with.
hate Eric McLean.
I don't hate him.
You hate him. Hate him. He's never coming on the show. Dave, teacher from Jeffersonville, said, if I had a $50 bonus bet that I have to use today on a plus 100 bet or parlay, what should I do? Said, I also very much relate to your radio discussion about not cussing on the radio. I was worried about that going into teaching, but it's funny how much changes in 4 years. I still don't cuss at kids. Also, last question, how many years of radio did it take for you to feel like an expert or expert-ish? Well, I'm like 20 years in, and I still do not feel anywhere near. And I get that that's like a cliche line to give to that question, but it's accurate. That's how I feel.
Talking on a mic 2 years straight now, just with podcasting and radio stuff, and I don't feel like I'm getting any better.
I think you're definitely getting. If you went back and listened to a show from us 2 years ago, I think you'd be blown away.
I will say that I have gone back and listened, and it's like, wow, this is definitely much better. But in live time, is more so. It doesn't feel any different.
What would you use a plus 100 bet or parlay with a $50 bonus bet tonight? Or do you want to save that for Ticket Punch?
No, I can get into that a little bit. If I'm being honest, if I had a $50 bonus bet right now, I think there's like 2 or 3 NBA teams that are underdogs right now that are going to win tonight.
Okay.
I think the Pelicans are going to get a win tonight. Let me check. I'm going to be sure. Oh, geez, I'm losing it here. Yeah, Pelicans, Grizzlies in Memphis. Memphis 4.5 point favorite. I get that they like to play fast. I think the Pelicans have enough defense to get a win there. There was one more. They got the Spurs as underdogs right now in Dallas for this ESPN game tonight. That's going to be a toss-up, I think. I think that, bonus bet money is technically free. Look into just a single straight bet on an underdog. Typically what I do with stuff like that.
Delaware covering the 9.5 and Mo State covering the 1.5 on the road. Parlay it. That's what I'm going with. CUSA Mike. He's back. He got burned on a 2-point conversion in overtime last night, but he's back here tonight. He's ready to go. Also says, don't worry, I'll be listening to the Ticket Punchers too. Look at that.
There you go.
Texture says, Roman currently wondering who's Tyler.
It's funny, though, when you were saying that, every time you'd, make those references to fake names, I'm, always wondering, is there actually, somebody on the roster named Tyler? I go look real fast to make sure it's not Tyler Williams, the freshman from that city who's never going to play a minute.
Tyler.
Talking about a real player there.
Texture says, early onset Republican Mike making an appearance again, complaining about Eastern Europeans taking jobs from American basketball players in Illinois. Chris the Plumber foaming at the mouth. I'm saying that nobody has a problem with it. I'm not saying that I have a problem with it. I just don't trust him. When's a European player ever worked out in the NBA anyway? It's not working. It's a legitimate Trevor take from like 5 years ago.
He was.
Was he still saying it?
I mean, he had some complaints last night.
Texas says, Genuine and All for One are coming to Belco Theater on December 5th. Where's Belco Theater?
Shea isn't doing anything new. I'm just old enough to remember an NBA that would punish players for flopping to stop it as opposed to the current NBA that rewards it.
Texas says there's a lot of talk that Miller is going to win the Long John Silver NIL Athlete of the Year. He did win Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Quarterback of the Week last week, and now he's got the Long John Silver money flowing. Did you see the video that they put out there of them all giving gold stars to the players? It was pretty sweet. Like, they're like, what like, what's this for? And they're like, just because you're a gold star. And all the players like,
watch it now.
They give one to Miller, and he's like, he has that like just kind of like awkward person where he's like, what's this for? And like they're like, just because you're a gold star. And he has that kind of like nervous laugh where he's like, okay. I'm like Miller, come on, buddy. We need you to loosen up. Just take the damn star. Let's go. Texter says, what is this? The little dumper sends in a tweet. We talked about this, MacGuffin. Texter says, this may be one of the worst takes from Roman, LMAO. That's your Instagram handle, by the way.
Was.
Eric McLean loves Louisville and always talks highly of us and Jeff Brom. He was on Clemson's O-line in 2016. So, yes, he's a homer, but he's been on the State of Louisville's podcast multiple times, too, and always talks about how he's been waiting to come to Louisville. Horrible take, Roman.
Listen to him.
He hates you.
Listen to him talk on these other ACC teams.
That's Eric McLean texting in right now. Texas Purdue kind of reminds me of the Alabama team last year that was preseason top 2, was the second 2 seed on Selection Sunday and lost in the Elite 8 to Duke. I can see that comparison.
They should have been better defensively than they were, though.
That was the thing that kept them from being really good.
Like, they had the personnel to defend. They just didn't.
Yeah. Texas, I don't know, Mike. In fairness, none of the top 4 ACC teams have a bad loss to a team with a losing record, but the SEC does. Times are changing. There's a new top dog in town.
Love it.
The best team in the SEC lost to the worst team in the ACC by 14 points. Make of that what you will. I mean, that's the point. We need Florida State to keep losing so we can just. They're so bad they're firing their coach, but they beat Kalen DeBoer by 2 tutties. We just got to keep latching onto that. Lazard guy says, I'll not take it seriously for you, Mike. There's a better chance that Taylor Rooks kicks in my door tonight and begs me to make love to her than there is of BC coming into L&N and leaving with a W. I don't like this. I don't agree with it. I know Taylor Rooks. She's a sweet lady. And there's a better chance of her making love to you than there is. No, there's not. I mean the other thing. I'm taking the BC game serious. That's all you need to know. I'm not overlooking this. Texter says, help me think of how I can justify basketball season tickets to my wife, even though we live in Indy. Oh, boy.
Does she like bourbon?
Is she interested in potentially moving to Louisville?
You could tell her 96.1 isn't Big X up there. You got to get closer.
That's there you go. No more streaming. Terrestrial radio. It's back in. Texas, the only person that's a bigger loser than Tony Vitello is Chris the Plumber. Come on. Texas, Stanford was terrible and beat us. Got to take every opponent seriously. This is more like it. That's what I'm in line with this guy. That's how I'm thinking right now. Texas says, Roman, quote, I shouldn't be saying this. Kenny Payne, quote, I shouldn't tell you this. We didn't have the tights that Tyler wanted, so he didn't know if he wanted to play. Oh, yeah, every time
I really couldn't believe that.
When he first started saying, I probably shouldn't be saying this, I was like, oh, God.
And then he smiled.
What is he going to say? Because he said a lot of stuff that he shouldn't be saying. If it's so bad that he's going to preface it with that, okay, we don't have time to get to the last few texts. We almost made it through all the texts today. We did our best. Tonight, Roman, Cavs, Knicks, tipping off at 7 o'clock ESPN. Who you got?
The Knicks got a dark cloud over them, Mike.
Ooh.
I hate to say it. It's
Does
not a
feel
big one. It's not a big one, but it is dark. Nobody's playing tonight. No Hart, no Cat, no Mitchell Robinson, who's already got load management under his injury reasoning for tonight.
Good Lord.
Give me the Cavs here.
And then the nightcap on ESPN, you've got Spurs, Mavs, Cooper Flag versus Wemby. Who you got?
Give me Wemby.
I got the Mavs winning. Wemby MVP season starts now. Ticket Punch is up next. I'm back tomorrow at 2:30. Go Cards.
Go Cards.
Plumbing and refrigeration.